To listen to the next episode, contact us directly via the description below to receive lifetime access to join our Telegram group and listen to the latest audio. Soon, they arrived at a coffee shop. The moment their taxi stopped and the three of them stepped out, two neat rows of staff bowed deeply. "Welcome, Mr. Moriarty, Ms. Celestis, and Ms. Valentina," they said in unison. The scene was somewhat eye-catching, but none of them were surprised. Given their identities, such courtesy was only natural. Alex gave a slight nod, and the three entered the shop, choosing a quiet table. "Bring the best of the house, please," Alex ordered calmly. He did not wait for the drinks to arrive. Instead, he turned his gaze toward Selena, studying her with clear intent. The moment she noticed, Selena's neck, ears, and cheeks flushed red. She even looked as if steam might rise from her head. Before she could say anything, Anna spoke up. "Hey, why are you looking at her like that? Staring at a young maiden with such intensity is rude," she said, her tone carrying a hint of jealousy. Alex immediately realized the misunderstanding. I am sorry," he said quickly. "I was just very curious about space manipulation." The moment he explained, Selena felt a sour taste rise on her tongue, while Anna felt unexpectedly sweet inside. They both realized that Alex had not been flirting. He was simply interested in Selena's talent. Selena, however, was the heir of an emperor family. Composure and self-control had been drilled into her from childhood. She quickly adjusted her expression and looked at Alex professionally. "Yes, what do you want to know?" she asked. "Tell me how your talent works in general," Alex said. "I can teleport objects from one place to another within my line of sight," Selena replied. "The objects must be under 2 meters in length, and their weight cannot exceed 9 times what I can normally carry." She paused briefly, then continued honestly. "I once tried to teleport a rat. It died." She did not try to hide this fact. Alex frowned slightly in thought. "Then did you try wrapping the living animal in an energy shield or something similar?" he asked instinctively. Selena was stunned by the question. After a moment, she shook her head. "No. After the rat died, I never experimented with living organisms again." "I see. How many objects can you teleport at once?" Alex asked. "One at a time," she replied. "All right. Thank you for explaining," Alex said with a sincere smile. At that moment, he already wanted to practice on his own. But before doing so, he decided he needed to visit the Alliance first. "But why are you so interested in my talent?" Selena asked, lifting her coffee mug and taking a sip which just arrived at the table. "Well, I am very interested in what exists beyond our planet," Alex replied. "So I was wondering whether you could eventually teleport directly to the moon." It was a lie, yet not entirely a lie. "Maybe I will be able to do that after reaching the Emperor realm," Selena said calmly, without any sign of shock. Alex nodded in response. "Hey, are you not interested in my ability?" Anna asked with a slight pout. "You are the princess of the Celestis family," Alex replied with a laugh. "Would you even tell me if I asked?" "So you do know my identity," Anna said. "Then why did you refuse to become my friend? Am I not worthy?" she asked directly without hesitation. Alex was stunned. At that moment, he finally understood her earlier behavior. It was because he had rejected her earlier offer of friendship. "It is not that you are unworthy," Alex said gently. "Friendship does not depend on worthiness." He continued after a short pause. "It is just that I cannot easily trust people around me. Making friends is difficult for me. But if one day I am able to trust, and you still want to become my friend, then we will definitely become friends." Anna felt both relieved and saddened when she heard this. She had investigated Alex's past and knew exactly why he struggled to trust others. "Then it is a promise," she said softly. "As for my ability, it is gravity manipulation. I can increase gravity up to 100 times within a 50-meter radius within my eyesight, and I can decrease it as well." Alex was surprised that she had revealed her talent so openly. But she said it was only 100 times, but he saw in her description that it was up to 1,000 times. Maybe she didn't know yet. she could only use 100 times. Thank you for telling me, he said sincerely. Let's team up tomorrow if teams are allowed. He extended his hand for a handshake. Anna's cheeks turned red beneath her veil, but she still reached out and took his hand. Okay. At that moment, a familiar mechanical voice echoed in Alex's mind. An elemental talent, gravity manipulation, is detected. Copy it? What? Alex was confused. Gravity is considered an element? I thought it was closer to a physical or law-type talent. In his understanding, elements were fire, earth, water, air, wood, light, darkness, space, time, and similar concepts. Gravity, to him, had always been a law rather than an element. This assumption came from his past life experience with fantasy novels. It seems there is much more to this copying ability than I thought, Alex mused internally. Copy, he accepted without hesitation. After all, it was an SSS-rank talent. After saying goodbye to Selena and Anna, Alex took a taxi and headed toward the Alliance. He went looking for Tenzin, the man who had introduced him to the wristband. He was not sure whether Tenzin would still be at the Alliance at such a late hour. But he found him. Mr. Moriarty, what brings you here? Tenzin asked, as he was preparing to leave. I wanted to see whether my wristband can be upgraded in some way, Alex replied. Oh, Tenzin's interest was piqued. What kind of upgrade are you looking for? You see, I am a spirit master, Alex explained. I need flying knives and other floating weapons. If the wristband could be upgraded to create over 50 different objects at the same time, it would be far more convenient for me. Tenzin murmured thoughtfully. I will inform our engineers about your proposal. He immediately contacted the chief of the technology department. After a while, Tenzin smiled at Alex. You can leave the wristband here. They said it can be done, though it will take some time. Tomorrow is your wilderness practical test. Correct? They are confident it can be completed by then. I will have it sent to your hotel. Thank you, Mr. Tenzin, Alex said sincerely. I will take my leave. Alex entrusted the wristband to Tenzin and returned to his hotel. However, he had no intention of sleeping that night. He wanted to combine his space manipulation with his spirit mastery. He wanted to create something truly phenomenal. After arriving at the hotel, Alex entered the training room and locked it securely. He did not want anyone discovering that he possessed a space manipulation talent. He took out 3 obsidian flying knives from his space ring and let them float in front of him. With a simple movement of his finger, the knives began to move according to his will. Now came the crucial part. He wanted to teleport the knives to his desired locations without anyone noticing, then regain control over them the instant they reappeared. He set up several targets around the room. Then he put 2 of the knives aside and began practicing with a single blade. Go! Boom! At his command, the knife vanished and instantly appeared at the target location. The moment it reappeared, Alex tried to seize control of it with his mental energy. But he failed. Well, that was expected, he said with a smile, and immediately tried again. 6 hours passed. Morning arrived. Yet Alex was still practicing. 3 knives vanished and reappeared across the room, striking targets from different angles like ghosts. He had fully synchronized space manipulation with spirit mastery. Normally, spirit masters were already difficult opponents, attacking from multiple directions at once. But in Alex's case, it became downright lethal. Ordinary spirit masters' weapons could still be seen and anticipated. Alex's weapons, however, teleported without warning, striking before the enemy could even attempt to defend. But Alex felt that the space manipulation had far wider range of uses other than teleportation, as it was called space manipulation, not teleportation. But he decided to experiment on them later. He didn't have time now. Alex smiled and left the training room with satisfaction. He returned to his room, took a shower, and then went to have breakfast. Son, you are training very hard, Elizabeth said with concern. You are still within mortal limits. Your body needs proper rest. Take care of yourself. Thank you, Mom, Alex replied warmly. I was just a little excited about today's test. That is all. Alex finished his breakfast and leaned back slightly in his chair. His gaze drifted toward his wrist, waiting for the familiar band to appear. Once it did, he would leave for the institution. Soon, Tenzin entered the restaurant where Alex and his mother were having breakfast. "Hello, Mr. Moriarty. Hello, Lady Elizabeth. Good morning." Tenzin greeted them with a polite smile. "Mr. Tenzin, you came personally?" Alex asked, a trace of anticipation in his voice. "Yes," Tenzin replied calmly. "There have been some major upgrades. I came myself to explain the new functions." "Oh yeah." Alex's eyes lit up with excitement. "You can now create a full-body armor at the Saint level, a weapon at the Saint level, and up to 50 flying knives at once. You can use the armor in the wilderness, and the dark miasma will not harm you at all. You will also be able to see clearly in complete darkness. No additional gadgets are required," Tenzin explained. "Really? Thank you so much," Alex said sincerely as he accepted the wristband from him. According to Tenzin, the Omniweave was now a fully fledged Saint-level weapon. Even the flying knives it produced were Saint-level, meaning Alex would be able to use it all the way until he reached Saint-level strength himself. "Okay, Mom. I am leaving now. Wish me luck in the hunt," Alex said as he exited the hotel on his surfing board. Elizabeth watched him leave, worry visible on her face. This was the first time her son would leave the light domain and hunt in the wilderness. The outside world was infinitely more dangerous and completely unpredictable. Even near the light domain, extremely powerful monsters could suddenly appear. "Do not worry, Lady Elizabeth. Alex will be protected by 10 saints at all times during the hunt, including me." William's voice came from behind her. Hearing that, Elizabeth relaxed slightly. Alex appeared on the campus of the institution. 750 students were already gathered there, including Ray, Anna, Aaron, and Selena. Alex landed near the group. Anna and Selena both waved at him at the same time. Seeing both beauties waving at Alex, Aaron clenched his fists, his teeth grinding with jealousy and anger. "Alex, let's compete," Aaron shouted. "Let's see who can kill more monsters. If you lose, you will not go near Lady Anna anymore." Alex looked at him as if he were staring at a clown. "Huh? Why would I do that? Who are you? Do I even know you?" Alex scoffed. Aaron's face turned red with embarrassment. "If you win, I will give you our clan's SS rank body cultivation technique," Aaron said through gritted teeth. "Oh," Alex raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure you have the authority to make such a bet?" A body cultivation technique is an SS rank cultivation technique, worth over 100 billion FC. Everyone around them began looking at Aaron. They were thinking the same thing. Aaron knew he had already messed up, but as a man, he had to stand by his words at any cost. "I am 100% sure. We can make a written contract. I will give you a copy, not the original version," Aaron said. Before Alex could respond, Anna looked at Aaron as if she were staring at a dead man. "Who are you to decide who comes near me? Do you want to die?" she asked coldly. Aaron did not even look at her. In fact, he seemed afraid to. Instead, he shouted at Alex. "Are you doing it or not? The offer is tempting, but the bet is not fair," Alex replied calmly. "How about we change the deal? If I lose, I will give you the 80% discount right of the Grade 0 Elite." Aaron's hands trembled when he heard that. "Are you sure? You cannot go back on your words," Aaron said, excitement flashing in his eyes. "Let us make a contract." Anna suddenly felt a sweetness wash over her heart. Alex had changed the conditions. He was willing to sacrifice such a supreme privilege just so he could come near her. Butterflies fluttered in her stomach. "Alex, you do not have to do this. My family has body cultivation techniques too. I will give one to you," Anna said seriously. Alex shook his head. "The world can fall apart if it wants to. A man's word should not." Alex replied calmly. Aaron had been afraid Alex might cancel the deal, but now he let out a sigh of relief. He wasted no time. He created the contract and signed it. After the farce ended, the instructor arrived. Students, you will go to Sector 7 for today's hunt. It is located near the Western continent. Everyone will wear full-body armor and special goggles to see in the darkness. Points will be allocated accordingly. Martial Warrior Low-Level Monster, 1 point. Martial Warrior Mid-Level Monster, 5 points. Martial Warrior High-Level Monster, 10 points. Martial Master Low-Level Monster, 30 points. Martial Master Mid-Level Monster, 50 points. Monsters above this level are impossible for you to handle. The hunt will last for 24 hours. Your wristbands have scanners that can assess a monster's power level and calculate your points. Your battle suits contain a teleportation button. If you encounter real danger, use it immediately. Remember this, the mortality rate is over 20%. If you still wish to participate, go and prepare yourselves. Then board the airship. We will depart in 30 minutes. The instructor continued giving advice about survival in the wilderness. Alex, Anna, Selena, and Aaron did not need battle suits since they already had personal ones. Ray, however, did not. Okay, guys, I will go get ready, Ray said before leaving. Alex looked at the instructor. Sir, can we form teams? The instructor shook his head. This is a test of courage and battle prowess. Team formation is not allowed. You also cannot leave a 100-kilometer radius during the test. Anna and Selena looked disappointed. They had been hoping to team up with Alex. Alex nodded. Okay, best of luck, he said to Anna and Selena before entering the spaceship. Idiot, Aaron muttered with a grin. Darkness is my kingdom. Once I am out there, I will become omnipotent. You will never be able to compete with me, even if you are a once-in-a-lifetime genius. He then entered the airship. 30 minutes later, the airship departed from the central continent and headed toward the western continent, near Sector 7. 1 hour later, it landed. Everyone disembarked. Alex looked ahead. 300 meters ahead. He could see nothing. Only darkness. This was the end of the light domain. Go. Your time starts now, the instructor announced loudly. With a sonic boom, Alex vanished into the darkness on his surfing board. He was wearing full-body armor, a sword gripped in his hand. 10 obsidian flying knives floated around him, created instantly. He was ready to fight real monsters. Strength, 3,850 tons. Speed, 500 m/s. Defense, 3,850 tons. Spirit, 600 tons. Combat power, top martial grandmaster level 1. This was his current status panel. With 600 tons of spirit power, he could envelop a 6-kilometer radius with his mental domain. Alex decided to hunt as many monsters as possible, because these points would be converted into academic credits. Alex activated his mental domain the moment he stepped into the wilderness. Now, even without the high-tech gadgets embedded in his body armor, he could clearly perceive everything within a 6-kilometer radius around him. As for his real eyes, he could still see, but the vision resembled night vision footage from movies, only with noticeably higher quality and sharper detail. This limitation was precisely why humans were forced to hunt in teams when entering the wilderness. Their natural vision alone was insufficient. A surprise attack in such an environment could easily prove fatal. However, within this 100-kilometer zone, more than 20 saints were secretly keeping watch, ensuring that no monster above the martial master level could enter the vicinity. So it was safe for them to hunt alone. Alex sped up his flying capability and headed toward the deeper regions. His goal was simple. He wanted to hunt powerful monsters and deliberately leave the weaker ones for the other students. 10 minutes later, he had already crossed more than 80 kilometers when he suddenly halted midair. Because within his mental range, he detected at least 21 monsters, and every single one of them was a high-level beastmaster. Alex hesitated. The instructor had never mentioned how many points would be awarded for killing high-level beastmasters. After a brief pause, he contacted his instructor. Hello, Mr. Arnold. Yes, Mr. Moriarty? Do you have something to ask? The instructor replied immediately. This was part of the protocol. Each student was allowed to contact instructors for assistance up to 3 times without being forced to withdraw. If I kill a high-level beast master, how many points will I get? Alex asked directly. Wah! The instructor froze for a moment before hurriedly responding. You will receive 100 points for each high-level beast master. I strongly advise you not to attempt this. They are far beyond your league. Could be fatal. Okay, thanks, Alex replied calmly and ended the call. He then began observing the movements of the 21 beasts. There were 7 tiger mastiffs, 5 shadow wolves, 4 earth boars, and 5 dark flame cats. Alex wanted to test something. With a thought, he controlled his 10 flying knives. Hush! With a sharp cutting sound, all 10 knives vanished from his side and reappeared near the necks of 10 monsters. He snapped his fingers. Instantly, 10 heads rolled to the ground. Alex glanced at his wristband. No points were added. He sighed softly. It was understandable. The wristband sensors could only record kills within their detection range. He had just killed 10 monsters 6 kilometers away. And he was the only spirit master on Earth capable of pulling off such madness. Looks like I have to kill them manually. Cheating like this will not earn me any points. He urged his surfing board to accelerate to full speed. His first target was a black flame cat. He wanted to confirm whether monster talents could be copied as well. With a deafening sonic boom, he appeared beside the beast. It was the size of a normal lion, its body wreathed in constantly burning dark flames. He activated the Eye of Revelation. Name Black Flame Cat. Talent Dark Flame Attack. C. Rank High-Level Beast Master. Alex looked at the talent rank and sighed. He could not copy anything below SS rank. Still, the fact that monsters possessed talent rankings meant there was a very real possibility he could copy monster talents in the future. D. He raised his index finger. A flying knife shot forward and pierced straight through the beast's body like a hot knife slicing through butter. Alex checked his ranking. Alex Moriarty. 100 points. First rank. He could only see his own rank. The rankings of others were hidden. At that exact moment, Aaron, who had killed 6 mid-level beast warriors and accumulated 30 points, dropped from first place to second. Who is it? Who surpassed me so quickly? Aaron's eyes burned with fury, but there was no way for him to know. Damn it! I have to find high-level beast warriors immediately. He melted into the shadows and began moving at terrifying speed. He even created 5 clones, drastically expanding his search range. There was no way he would lose to Alex. Unfortunately for him, Alex had already forgotten about Aaron completely. He was having fun. He hunted down high-level beast masters one after another, surfed toward them, and cut them down like livestock. He used his hand sword, flying knives, and sometimes even his bare fists, smashing monsters into nothing but blood and fragments. Within 50 minutes, he had killed 35 high-level beast masters. Alex Moriarty, 3,500 points, first rank. All right, let us practice gravity manipulation. He chose a tiger mastiff as his test subject. The beast was wandering alone, completely unaware of what was about to happen. Suddenly, Alex appeared above it like the embodiment of death. He pointed his index finger and activated the talent. Boom! The tiger mastiff did not even have time to react before it was crushed into a pool of meat paste. Damn! I need to control the output. He had gone all out without meaning to. Alex had extremely high expectations for gravity manipulation. His ultimate goal was to train his body under extreme gravity, but first he needed precise control. He continued slaughtering monsters relentlessly. As usual, once Alex became fixated on something, he completely lost awareness of everything else. It was his bad habit. He tested different outputs according to his will, but it was far more difficult than he had expected. Even after 3 continuous hours killing hundreds of monsters, he could only reduce the output to around 800 times gravity, and even that was still overwhelmingly powerful. Can Anna control hers? Or is she just a walking disaster? Alex muttered while practicing. Inside the control center of the base camp near Sector 7, the instructors stared at Alex's point total, their throats completely dry. Alex Moriarty, 13,700 points, first rank. No way. What is he? One instructor screamed in disbelief. In the 300-year history of the Aurora Martial Institution, no freshman had ever surpassed 1,000 points in this test. Yet this monster had crossed 13,000 within just a few hours. Anna was engaged in battle with a high-level beast warrior, wielding her sword with calm precision. She was deliberately not using her talent. There were other students nearby, and she could not control her gravity manipulation yet. If she activated it, everything within 60 meters would be annihilated, including the students. She tried to move away, but the students kept following her, fear evident on their faces. They had wanted to follow Alex, but he had vanished without a trace. Though these students were not exceptional, they were still powerful enough to hunt monsters on their own. They simply chose to remain close to Anna. Why is she not using her talent? They wondered silently. Selena, on the other hand, was having an easy time with her space manipulation. She stayed far from her targets. With a simple sword swing, she slashed the air and then activated her space manipulation. The monster in the distance was sliced apart as if it were tofu. She currently stood at third rank, mainly because she struggled to find monsters. Other students kept tailing her and stealing her kills. Ray was charging headfirst into battle, piercing monsters one after another with his spear. "Haha! This is so fun! Come at me!" he roared like a madman. 12 hours passed. Alex could no longer find any high-level beastmasters, not even mid-level ones. He had exterminated them all while practicing gravity manipulation. He could now reduce the output to as low as 300 times gravity. As for range, he could precisely control it from a single inch up to 600 meters. Alex Moriarty, 36,543 points, first rank. Time to rest. Constantly using gravity manipulation had taken a serious toll on both his body and his mind. Alex floated 100 meters above the ground. This region was considered relatively safe because flying monsters were also not allowed to enter here. Because of that, Alex could rest in the air without much concern. He sat cross-legged and entered meditation. However, he did not dare to cultivate. The instructors had repeatedly warned them that cultivating in the wilderness was no different from courting death. The reason was the black miasma. It could corrode the mind, and anyone affected by it would eventually turn into a mindless monster, a demonoid. Around 54 kilometers away, a male student was hiding behind a tree. His body was drenched in blood. A huge claw mark had torn through his side, leaving a gushing wound. He had been attacked by a Beastmaster-level mountain bear. The body protection armor issued to them could only defend against normal high-level Beastmaster monsters. But there was something terribly wrong with that bear. It was overwhelmingly strong. He tried to press the teleportation button and activate his communicator. But the bear's claw had already ripped the button off his armor, and his communication device was completely jammed. The saints assigned to the inspection were only guarding the border of the region. They were not monitoring what was happening inside the 100-kilometer zone. Only a few prominent students were being observed, and even that happened only once every few hours. What is that thing? That mountain bear should not be this strong. Its strength has already surpassed 1,000 tons, whereas a high-level beast master strength type monster should only have around 500 tons of strength. I am going to die. He covered his mouth with both hands as he spoke, forcing himself not to make a sound. The bear was still searching for him. That was not even the worst part. The black miasma was seeping directly from the wound and spreading through his body. It was slowly creeping toward his brain. He could feel his consciousness slipping away. Within 10 minutes, his mind was completely destroyed by darkness. He stood up from behind the tree and walked out into the open. The bear stared at him for a moment, then turned away and left in search of a new target. It sensed a similar monstrous aura coming from the human. Normally, monsters did not attack other monsters without a valid reason. The boy walked like a zombie. Yet the aura within his body continued to grow stronger. He had originally been a martial warrior level 3. Now, his aura had already reached martial warrior level 9. Among the 20 saints guarding the border, one saint suddenly looked in that direction. Only one in 12 hours? Where did the remaining modified monsters go? He frowned slightly, feeling confused. What he did not know was that Alex had already killed all of those monsters indiscriminately. Alex had sensed that something was wrong with them, but he had still flattened them like pancakes using his gravity manipulation ability. None of the saints noticed this, because it was Vice President Arthur's direct order that no one was allowed to observe Alex while he was fighting. Alex did not want to reveal his power yet, and the Alliance chose to respect his decision. If any saint's divine sense passed over Alex during battle, his battle suit was more than capable of detecting it. That would have meant the doom of that saint. The saint narrowed his eyes. It looks like I will have to accelerate the plan. Alex cannot be allowed to leave this battlefield alive. Once he enters the academy, it will be impossible for us to kill him. He had planted seeds inside normal monsters as well, just in case the tougher ones failed. Neither he nor his faction had any idea that Alex already possessed strength at the Grandmaster level. They believed that a few berserk high-level beast masters and some demonoids, enough to eliminate him. The saint snapped his fingers. The seeds inside the normal beast warriors instantly burst. It will take around 3 hours for these monsters to reach the Grandmaster level, and they will die after 1 hour. That gives them exactly 1 hour to kill Alex. I just need to guide them in his direction. He calculated everything calmly in his mind. 3 hours later, Alex opened his eyes and ended his meditation. He felt much lighter than before. 9 hours remain. I will go and see how the other students are doing. He muttered to himself and stood up. What no one knew was that during these 3 hours, 67 Grandmaster-level monsters had appeared within the region. They had already attacked more than 50 students, and 50 demonoids had emerged. The saint had played his cards extremely carefully, ensuring that the other saints noticed nothing unusual. At the base camp, "Sir, a communication jammer has been activated. We cannot contact any students or the saints." An instructor spoke with visible panic. "What did you say?" Arnold roared. A terrible premonition surged in his chest. "Cancel the test immediately. Activate the third protocol and contact the saints. Where are the last known locations of those 5 students, especially Alex? I am going there personally." Arnold floated into the air and shot forward. But at that exact moment, 20 saint-level monsters appeared out of nowhere and launched a surprise attack on the 20 saints guarding the border. Only one saint remained calm. Saint Darren looked at the saint-level monster charging at him and smiled. "Go and stop Arnold. Do not go within 5 kilometers near Alex, or Arthur will come here personally and our plan will be ruined." The monster attacking him was a gigantic ape. It looked at Darren with cold eyes. "Do not order me, human. You are just a pawn in our grand scheme. Do not think of yourself as someone with authority." After speaking, the ape rushed into the 100-kilometer region to intercept Arnold. Alex was slowly searching for his classmates, while also looking for high-level monsters to hunt. Suddenly, a vile aura entered his mental range. "Huh? What is that?" He immediately moved toward the source of the aura. What he saw was a student, but something was clearly wrong. Name: Marcus Hutchin, Demonoid. Talent: Water Spear, A. Rank: Martial Warrior 9. A demonoid? How did he become a demonoid without anyone noticing? Alex was still thinking when the demonoid suddenly attacked. 5 water spears shot toward him at extreme speed. Alex activated existential nullity without hesitation. A sense of danger surged through him. The demonoid instantly lost all of its power. But before Alex could relax, 67 massive auras entered his mental domain and rushed toward him at supersonic speed. Those auras were even stronger than his own. "This is bad. Run." Alex made the decision instantly. If 67 high-level beast grandmasters were allowed into this region and were all charging at him, then someone was clearly plotting his assassination. that someone could very well be a saint or even an emperor. Alex's mind became incredibly sharp in situations like this. But to his horror, a barrier had already been deployed. He could not break through it. Then he saw them. Name: Tiger Mastiff. Berserk. Talent: none. Rank: High-level Beast Grandmaster. Temporary. He only needed to look at one monster to be certain that a faction was trying to assassinate him. Instead of fear, excitement surged through his veins. Not so fast, suckers. His blood boiled with an unknown thrill. Let us go all out. The monsters did not attack any Emperor heirs, because each of those heirs possessed artifacts capable of summoning their ancestors in moments of extreme danger. The plan was simple. Attack Alex directly. Let the demonoids create chaos among the students and trigger large-scale panic. Back at the base camp, an instructor directly contacted the vice president and reported everything. Arthur's furious roar echoed from the other side. You fool! Why did you not inform me immediately? Why did you take so long? Arthur vanished from his room the next instant. He rushed toward the western continent at a speed of 10,000 meters per second. Inside the barrier, Alex stood calmly, his gaze sweeping across the 67 high-level beast grandmasters before him. Each of these monsters had originally been nothing more than ordinary beast warrior-level creatures. Breaking through to the beast master realm was already considered rare for their kind. Yet now, every single one of them stood at the beast grandmaster level. However, their aura told a different story. Their energy fluctuated violently, unstable and chaotic, as if their bodies were on the verge of bursting apart at any moment. Alex slowly closed his eyes. He was not worried yet. His armor was capable of withstanding a direct hit from a saint. Against these monsters, even at their current level, breaking through his defenses would take time. Time he would not give them. He only needed to erase them from existence before they could do any real damage. Alex tightened his grip around his sword and activated his sword intent. In an instant, his combat power surged, reaching nearly 12,000 tons of strength, comparable to a level 5 Grandmaster. But even that was not enough to engage these monsters head-on. These were not normal level 9 Grandmasters. They were clearly far stronger. Come on! With a deafening sonic boom, Alex shot forward. The 10 flying knives vanished at the same time. Existential nullity was already activated. In that moment, all talents were sealed. Only pure physical strength remained. Then Alex activated 1,000 times gravity. He went all out. The result was immediate. All 67 beast grandmasters slammed into the ground as if struck by an invisible divine hammer. Even at the grandmaster realm, their bodies could not withstand 1,000 times gravity. They were completely pinned. Not a single monster could move even an inch. They could not roar. They could not struggle. They could not even breathe properly. Huh? That's all? At least give me a real challenge, you bastards. Alex had expected them to endure the pressure for at least a short while. Instead, they collapsed instantly. Disappointed, he stepped forward. One by one, he calmly chopped off their heads. At the same time, his 10 flying knives moved like silent executioners, each strike cutting down a monster. 10 at once. In less than 3 minutes, all 67 monsters were dead. Yet the barrier still remained. Can you contact outside? Alex asked the AI. No, master. The communication is completely jammed. I cannot. Alex sighed lightly and sat down on his floating silver surfing board. He relaxed. Looks like I'll need to acquire a more powerful AI. Situations like this can become deadly. Being unable to contact the outside world is a serious problem. He then moved to collect the beast cores. The cores are still immature since they were forcefully evolved. What a waste. Alex shook his head. Monster cores were the foundation of human civilization. Every energy source relied on them. The light domain forbade any technology that harmed nature, so humanity depended entirely on monster cores for energy supplies. That was why humans had to leave the safety of the light domain and hunt monsters. Aside from the cores, monster meat, Bones and skin were also used for countless purposes. After collecting everything, Alex closed his eyes. He tried extending his mental domain beyond the barrier. Outside, the students were in complete panic. More than 50 demonoids were attacking from multiple directions. Fortunately, the students had been hunting relatively close to each other. That was the only reason they were still holding on. Suddenly, Anna roared, "Make 100-meter space for me." The students did not understand why, but they were already being overwhelmed. They immediately retreated. Anna stared at the 10 demonoids charging toward her at terrifying speed. D. She muttered softly. Her talent activated. Boom! 100 times gravity slammed down. The demonoids were crushed instantly, their bodies collapsing into pools of meat paste. Her talent allowed her to manipulate up to 1,000 times gravity. However, at her current level, 100 times was the absolute limit. Any more, and her own body would be reduced to meat paste as well. Even so, everyone present was completely stunned. What just happened? Why did those monsters turn into meat paste? The heir of the Celestis family is a monster herself. The students erupted into fanatic admiration. The same situation unfolded with Ray and Selena. They also killed their demonoids, though Ray had to struggle far more than the others. Meanwhile, Aaron hid within the shadows. He had no intention of wasting time. Even amidst the chaos, he continued hunting monsters and accumulating points. He was pleased that everyone else was distracted. This was his chance to surpass them all. After dealing with the demonoids, Anna did not hesitate. She started running like a madwoman. She was worried about Alex. That arrogant man had gone ahead alone. What if he was surrounded by hundreds of monsters? Her heart ached with fear. Lady Anna, where are you going? This place is dangerous. A student shouted anxiously. But Anna did not answer. She kept running. She had no idea that 20 saint-level monsters were nearby, fighting the instructors. If she had known, she would have already used her artifact. Near the barrier, Arnold finally arrived and saw a massive dome-shaped structure. He instantly knew Alex was inside. Just as he was about to strike the barrier, a gigantic ape descended from the sky. Arnold leaped aside and stared at the new enemy. Human, your opponent is me. Today, Alex, the hope of your humanity, will not leave alive. 67 Berserk Beast Grandmasters are tearing him apart right now. They won't leave even a scrap behind. Haha. What did you say? Arnold roared. Get out of my way. He launched an attack. The ape clenched its fist and punched. Arnold barely managed to raise his defenses. The punch landed. Instant terror filled him. The strength felt comparable to an early Emperor-level beast. Arnold was sent flying like a ragdoll. Weaklings, the ape sneered. You humans should have gone extinct long ago. Only the light domain protects you. But rejoice, it won't protect you for much longer. Despite its enormous size, the ape vanished. It reappeared and struck Arnold again. Blood burst from Arnold's eyes, nose, and mouth. He barely dodged. If the punch had landed cleanly, he would have been flattened instantly. The missed punch struck the ground instead. A cataclysmic tremor spread across hundreds of kilometers. If a country had existed there, it would have been reduced to ruins. D. The ape went completely berserk. Similar scenes unfolded across the battlefield. Every instructor was being overwhelmed. These monsters were far stronger than any normal saint-level beast. The tremors knocked students to the ground. Fear consumed them. They realized something was terribly wrong. Otherwise, the instructors would have already come to save them. All communication was cut off. It felt as though a blade of doom was hanging over their heads. Just as despair was about to consume everything, a ray of light descended from above. A single snort echoed. Instantly, hundreds of kilometers fell into absolute stillness. The 20 saint-level monsters froze in place. An intense radiance flooded the battlefield. The dark miasma vanished completely, replaced by clear daylight. Everyone looked up. A man stood in the air. His hands were clasped behind his back. His long trench coat fluttered gently. He gazed down at the monsters like a divine judge passing sentence. Some rats trying to erase humanity, He took one step forward. All 20 Saint-level beasts disintegrated into cosmic particles. Every instructor and student dropped to their knees. "Thank you, Your Majesty, for saving us." Their voices were filled with reverence. Vice President Arthur had arrived in person. Arthur turned his gaze toward the barrier. "Kid, please be alive. I am late. I'm sorry. If you survive this, I promise such mistakes will never happen again." His heart felt unbearably heavy. With a single look, the barrier vanished. Arthur and Arnold stared inside, bracing themselves for the worst. They expected to see Alex's broken corpse. Instead, they saw something entirely different. Still gruesome, but deeply satisfying. Alex was calmly meditating on his flying surfboard. Around him lay the mangled remains of 67 unstable beast grandmasters. "Ha ha!" Arthur burst into laughter. The crushing pressure in his chest finally disappeared. The laughter of Arthur rang out across the devastated area, echoing between the shattered terrain. Arnold released a long breath of relief. If Alex had died today, humanity would never have forgiven him. At that moment, Anna arrived. She had run nearly 40 kilometers to reach the site. As only a level 5 martial warrior, forcing her body this far in such a short time right after using her talent had taken a severe toll. Her chest rose and fell violently as she struggled to breathe. Her eyes were the first to take in the scene. They landed on the piles of fallen monsters, their corpses still radiating terrifying auras even in death. "No!" she screamed. For a split second, she believed those monsters had killed Alex, and that the vice president had slain them in retaliation. Then her gaze lifted toward the sky. She saw Alex. He was seated calmly in midair, meditating. Instantly, the crushing darkness gripping her heart vanished. A pure smile bloomed across her face as overwhelming relief washed over her. Alex opened his eyes and looked ahead. He saw Arnold, Arthur, and Anna staring at him. "Hello, Vice President. Hello, teacher. Hello, Ms. Anna," Alex said politely. "Is everything all right out there? Ms. Anna, are you hurt?" There was genuine concern in his voice. He wanted to go to them, but the barrier surrounding the area prevented him from moving. When Anna realized that Alex was worried about her even after experiencing something so terrifying, a warm sweetness flooded her heart. "I'm all right," she replied softly. "What about you?" "Yeah," Alex muttered casually. "I had fun playing with them, but they didn't last long. What a bummer." Arnold felt his mouth twitch violently. "Sir," Arnold said, turning to Arthur. "Tell that brat to stop bragging or I'll spank him myself. We were having heart attacks out here while he was casually fighting over 50 high-level beast grandmasters, and he says he was having fun." Arthur burst out laughing once again. "All right," Arthur said, his tone turning serious. "The test is over. Call everyone back. I will compensate all participants with an extra 5,000 credits for the remaining time and for our failure to protect them properly." "As you wish," Arnold replied before leaving the area. That was when the 20 Saints arrived. William was among them. He appeared in front of Alex like a bolt of lightning. "Kid, are you all right?" William asked anxiously. "Are you hurt anywhere?" "I'm sorry. I couldn't make it in time." "Please don't worry, Sword Saint," Alex said sincerely. "I'm perfectly fine. If some puny berserk beasts could kill me, wouldn't that be a disgrace for the sole existence who reached the 100th stair?" He smiled confidently. "Braggart," Anna muttered, rolling her eyes, yet she could not stop looking at Alex. For some reason, he seemed infinitely more handsome than before. "That's a relief," William said as he finally relaxed. He then bowed toward Arthur. "Thank you, Your Majesty, for saving the day. Those monsters were far stronger than normal. This situation is deeply abnormal. We must investigate. Something is very wrong." Arthur nodded, his expression cold. "We will," he said. "Those rats will not live much longer. Among the saints, one individual was having a silent mental breakdown. He had gambled everything on this mission. He had been absolutely certain Alex would die. Yet Alex stood there unharmed, without even a single scratch. How was this possible? Perhaps the vice president had secretly given Alex some S-rank artifacts. Otherwise, there was no way a recently awakened brat could defeat beast grandmasters, even if he was someone who reached the 100th stair. Alex habitually scanned the saints, checking to see if there were any talents worth copying. Name, Timothy Garayan. Talent, Earth Manipulation, S. Rank, Saint Level 7. Name, Jake Paul. Talent, Berserk. Rank, Saint Level 3. Name, Harold James. Talent, Fire Manipulation, SS. Rank, Saint Level 4. True Strength, Saint Level 9. Status, colluded with the Monster Association. Alex's eyes widened slightly. He could see hidden truths like this. That made sense. His talent was the eye of revelation, not a simple eye of appraisal. Looks like I need to experiment more with this talent, Alex muttered. But let's milk the cow first. He stepped forward and instantly appeared in front of Harold. Harold stared at him suspiciously. Why was this brat approaching him? Did he know something? No. There was a 0% chance. Alex smiled warmly and extended his hand. Hello, Mr. Harold. I'm a big fan of your fire talent. It looks very cool when you use it. I've seen it on the internet. May I shake your hand? Alex was speaking complete nonsense. He had never seen Harold online. In fact, since transmigrating, Alex barely used the internet at all. Harold sneered inwardly. I'll be the one to kill you someday, and you call yourself my fan? Fate really is cruel. Still, he extended his hand with a gentle smile. It's an honor, Harold said. Ding. Elemental talent detected. Fire manipulation. Copy? Copy. The talent transferred instantly. Alex released Harold's hand. Teacher, Alex asked. The test is over, right? Yes, Arnold replied. We'll leave shortly. I've contacted the other instructors. They are bringing all the students. Sir, Alex continued, I killed 67 beast grandmasters. How many points will I receive? Well, Arnold hesitated. Normally, fifth-year students at the grandmaster level receive 1,500 credits per high-level beast grandmaster. I'll give you 2,000 each. Alex glanced at his wristband. Alex Moriarty, 170,000 points. Rank 1. Arnold's face twitched again. Alex had earned more credits in a single recruitment test than many fifth-year students earned in a year. Arthur looked at Alex thoughtfully. I'll add 30,000 more credits and round it off. How does that sound? Thank you, sir, Alex replied eagerly. Soon the other students arrived. Ray, Selena, and Aaron were among them. Aaron's face was dark. Even with over 10,000 points, he was still ranked second. Who was the bastard who surpassed him? Alex, where have you been? Selena asked curiously. Just taking a stroll in the wilderness, Alex replied casually. Soon, everyone exited the wilderness and boarded the aircraft. Arthur departed separately. They arrived back on campus not long after. The students were utterly exhausted. The top 500 will stay in the dormitories, Arnold announced. The rest will be transported home. Our aircraft will take you. Soon, only 500 students remained. Arthur had already left. Anyone with SS-rank talent or higher will receive a private room, Arnold continued. S-rank talents will share rooms with one other person. The rest will be assigned to a room. Room numbers have been allocated. You may stay in the dorms or outside. It is entirely your choice. Alex chose not to stay. His mother would be worried. He bid farewell to everyone and returned to the hotel. He needed a long sleep. Classes would begin in 3 days. When Alex entered the hotel, Elizabeth rushed toward him like a storm and wrapped him in a tight hug. She had already heard everything. Are you all right? She asked frantically. You're not hurt, right? I'll call Ezra to heal you if you are. Mom, I'm fine, Alex said smugly. Don't worry. I'm very strong. Only then did Elizabeth release him. Go rest, she said gently. Food will be sent to your room after you shower. Alex returned to his room and contacted Arthur. Alex. Arthur's voice came through. Did you need something? Yes, Vice President, Alex said calmly. Keep an eye on St. Harold. He was colluded with today's attack. As soon as Alex said that, the opposite side turned silent. Alex did not say anything either. He was waiting for the weight of his words to settle first. Are you sure? Arthur finally asked after taking a deep breath. 100%. Alex nodded. Thank you. Do you want anything in reward for this information? Arthur believed him without asking any further questions. Sir, I am a human too. Who takes money to save his own kind? Alex said with a faint smile. Then he seemed to recall something. But sir, does the Alliance have any device that can be attached to the body and help gather cosmic energy nonstop? He asked. His system allowed him to cultivate 24 hours a day, but if the surrounding cosmic energy thinned out the moment he began cultivating, the system would become inefficient. Even if he had a cultivation device at home, he would not always be there. That defeated the purpose. He needed a portable device, something that could continuously draw energy without causing depletion. Arthur fell into thought. We do not have something like that. Why do you want it? The Academy has cultivation rooms where you will never face such an issue. I have also planted a super energy gathering artifact in your new villa. It is not like you will be cultivating 24 hours, Arthur said. Alex smiled wryly. That was exactly the problem. But sir, I want a device like that. Will the Alliance be able to create one? Alex asked. Why don't you come to the Alliance Hall tomorrow and speak with our engineers? Tell them exactly what kind of gadget you want. Arthur replied after some consideration. All right, I will be there tomorrow, Alex said before ending the call. He then took a hot shower for 30 minutes. The exhaustion slowly washed away. After coming out, Alex ate the food his mother had sent to his room and went to sleep. He was completely worn out. The next morning, after eating breakfast, Alex headed toward the Alliance Hall. He flew slowly on his silver surfing board. While traveling, he pondered his next steps. I need to thoroughly research monsters from low level all the way to Emperor level. I must understand their talents. Blindly copying every element will not bring real benefits. If I gather 3 SS grade talents of the same element from monsters and humans, they can merge into an SSS grade talent. By repeating this process, I can obtain talents beyond the SSS tier. I also need to gather information on human talents, and I should ask if there is any way to break through the limitation of my Spirit Master ability. This cap of 10 is starting to bother me. He had already planned everything. Soon, Alex appeared above the Alliance Hall and descended in front of it. Teams of martial artists were constantly entering and leaving. This place served as a major hub for them. Many noticed Alex's extraordinary presence. Is that Sir Alex? He looks even more handsome than he did on TV. A female martial artist thought in a daze. Still, none dared approach him. To them, he was like a star, someone to admire only from afar. Alex entered the hall and saw Tenzin waiting for him. Hey, Alex. His Majesty already informed the entire engineering team. They are waiting for you. Shall we go? Tenzin asked with a smile. He had also heard about what happened the previous day. Alex had slaughtered 67 berserk high-grade beast grandmasters alone. His growth was terrifying, like a falling meteor. Soon Alex would surpass even him. Yet Tenzin felt no jealousy, only respect. He knew far darker truths than the general public. Humanity did not have much time left before a great apocalypse or an all-consuming war descended upon them. They needed to become as strong as possible. And Alex was precisely that ray of hope who might one day protect the human race. Sure. Thank you for receiving me personally, Alex said, nodding. You are welcome. They soon entered the lift and went directly to the 20th floor, where the laboratory was located. When they arrived, dozens of engineers were already waiting. They bowed simultaneously. Hello, Sir Alex. As a grade 0 elite, his status was equivalent to a martial saint. He only needed to bow to emperors. A handsome young man wearing an apron stepped forward and raised his hand. "Hello, Alex. I am Morgan Stanley, the Chief of Technology of the Alliance." Alex shook his hand and activated the Eye of Revelation. Name: Morgan Stanley. Talent: Techmaster, SS. Rank: Saint Level 9. He can create any technology with a blueprint, and can also design blueprints from pure ideas. This is an extremely broken talent. Alex's eyes widened slightly. Human talents truly came in endless varieties. "Thank you, Mr. Morgan, for being here," Alex said politely. "No need for that. We practically live here. This lab is our real home. Now tell me, what kind of gadget do you want?" Morgan asked with interest. "I want a mini version of an energy-gathering artifact. It needs to be as powerful as the large one, if not stronger. It should also be small enough not to interfere with my daily life or combat," Alex stated clearly. That is not too difficult. We can also add a function that allows cosmic crystals to increase your cultivation speed by up to 10 times. Leave your Omni Weave with us again. It will take at least 10 days. I will give you a temporary one to use in the meantime," Morgan said with a confident smile. "No wonder the Alliance flourishes in technology. Having someone like you is a blessing. Thank you very much. Also, can you upgrade the AI? Yesterday it failed to communicate because of a jammer," Alex asked. Morgan smiled helplessly. "You already have the best version we currently possess. We are developing a next-generation AI, but it will only be ready in 6 months. As for yesterday, the enemy used a saint-level communication jammer." "I see. That is fine," Alex replied. After thanking them again, he returned home. Once back, Alex logged into the intranet of the Aurora Martial Institution. He wanted to purchase a sword technique. Only Academy students had access to this system. He navigated straight to the sword technique section. 1. Annihilation, SSS, 100 million credits. 2. Void/SS, 10 million credits. 3. Absolute Sever SS, 10 million credits. 4. Abyss Break S, 1 million credits. 5. Execution S, 1 million credits. 6. Blink A, 100,000 credits. Alex stared at the list. He nearly drooled. He wanted all of them, but he did not have enough credits yet. Still, he knew it would not take long to earn them. For now, he would settle for the A-rank technique. Blink. Blink. Level 1, 2x slashing speed. Level 2, 3x slashing speed. Level 3, 4x slashing speed. Level 4, 5x slashing speed. Level 5, 7x slashing speed. It had 5 levels. At max mastery, it granted 7 times his base hand speed. The technique could be used all the way up to the Emperor realm. Alex was astonished. 7 times speed was terrifying. Even enemies with similar movement speed would die before they realized what had happened. "Then you shall be the one," Alex muttered and pressed the buy option. His student account had 200,000 credits, and instantly 100,000 were deducted. It would take 2 hours for the delivery. Alex sat cross-legged on his bed. "Give me the details of monsters from grade 0 to Emperor level. Their locations and talents are the main priority, and only the monsters with elemental ability." He ordered his AI to search for information. The AI analyzed for a while and then provided him with a file. Alex opened it. There were thousands of pages inside. Each page contained a monster's photo along with detailed data. There were also links attached to videos showing their real combat styles. Alex began reading. His brain was extremely powerful, so with just a glance, he could memorize everything. In 2 hours, he had gone through information on more than 5,000 monster species. And he was still only at Beast Master level monsters. In the 500 years of the apocalyptic era, humanity had discovered over 100 million different species of monsters. However, Alex had instructed the AI to only bring information about monsters that possessed elemental talents. Even then, the number exceeded 500,000. It would take a long time to finish reviewing all of them. Soon, he received a notification that his parcel had arrived. Alex asked the delivery person to bring it directly to his room. A short while later, a martial grandmaster appeared carrying the parcel. Alex opened the package. Inside was a book. He opened it, and the first page contained details about its creator. The Sword Emperor Tianjin. Alex knew of him. He was the third strongest emperor of the Alliance. He had authored many sword techniques, including an S-rank sword technique that was considered his greatest creation. Alex began reading the technique. The method allowed the user to stimulate their nervous system using energy, greatly increasing movement speed for a short period of time. With each level of mastery, the stimulation would intensify. Using this technique, Tianjin himself could only stimulate it up to 7 times, and even that was effective only up to emperor level. As he had created this technique when he was a saint. That was why it was classified as an A-rank technique. A technique would only enter S-rank if it could be fully utilized by emperors. All right, not bad. Let's begin. Alex appeared inside his private training room. Just as he was about to start, William appeared inside the room. "What are you practicing today?" William asked curiously. "I bought an A-rank sword technique from the Academy intranet," Alex replied. "Which one is it?" William asked again. "Yes," Alex nodded. "Well, I use it too. It's one of my strongest combat techniques. Let me demonstrate it for you." "Thank you, sir. I would be honored," Alex replied excitedly. Reading a technique and seeing it performed in real combat were completely different experiences. William prepared himself and drew his sword. Alex suddenly heard the sound of air being cut, but he saw nothing. William had used level 5 of the technique, and with his saint-level speed, there was no way Alex could perceive it. Alex immediately asked his AI to replay it in slow motion. Only then did he see the full sequence. William drew his sword, completed a perfect slash, and returned it to the scabbard in an instant. Alex realized that the technique itself was actually very simple. The true complexity lay in how energy was induced into the nerves to amplify speed. Watching another demonstration would not be of much help. Alex memorized the entire technique and adjusted his stance. According to the method, he had to use energy to reduce the travel time of nervous signals by assisting neurotransmitters to move faster from one junction to another. The moment he tried, his eternal sword talent activated. He comprehended the technique instantly. An A-rank technique was nothing to him. He swung his sword. Instantly, he executed level 3. For times speed. William's eyes widened. He saw the sword clearly, and that was why he was shocked. The speed Alex displayed had already entered high Grandmaster level. "What is his base speed?" "Damn monster," William muttered. Alex, however, was not satisfied. "What a bummer. Only level 3. "What did you just say?" William shouted. "You performed level 3 on your first attempt? And why is your speed so monstrous even at level 3? William completely lost his saint-level composure. That bastard was complaining. It had taken William 6 months to reach level 3. The execution of the technique was extremely delicate. Any reckless attempt could damage the body. Alex scratched the back of his head and smiled awkwardly. Then he continued practicing. In 2 hours, Alex comprehended level 5. Still, he was far from satisfied. Thousands of ideas were racing through his mind on how to improve the technique. Among them, one idea stood out: using space manipulation on his neurotransmitters. Yes, he decided to teleport his neurotransmitters from one junction to another instantly. However, to do that, he would need to see every active neurotransmitter in his body. There was also a major flaw in the theory. His body was not strong enough to handle such extreme speed. He needed to improve his reflexes first. He had no idea how fast he would become if he succeeded, but that could wait. He needed to grow stronger before attempting something so dangerous. At the very least, he would need to reach Martial King realm. While Alex was lost in thought, William's jaw nearly hit the ground. "You mastered level 5? William asked in disbelief. Yes, it's unfortunate that I don't have enough credits to buy higher-grade techniques yet. By the way, Mr. William, do you know any spirit masters who could guide me? Alex asked. There aren't many spirit masters, but they aren't that rare either. If you want guidance from the best spirit master on Earth, His Majesty Alindro Celestis, the ancestor of the Celestis family, you would need a recommendation from the Vice President, William replied. Alex nodded. He wanted guidance from the best. But he knew someone from that family. Perhaps he should ask her first about the ancestor's temperament. Okay, thank you, Alex said as he left the room. He then contacted Anna. Anna was currently staying at her family's hotel. She had just finished bathing and was wrapped in a white towel. Suddenly, her communicator rang. She glanced at the caller ID, ready to reject it if it was not from her family. No one else contacted her directly. Others went through her maid. The moment she saw the name, her heart began to race. Her towel loosened and slipped from her body, but she did not notice. Alex was calling her. She never expected Alex to call her on his own. She calmed herself and answered. Hello, Alex. Hey, Anna. Did I disturb you? Alex asked apologetically. No, not at all. Please tell me why you called so suddenly. I'm not busy, Anna replied quickly. Then can we meet this afternoon? I want to discuss something with you, Alex said directly. Anna instantly drifted into her fantasy world. Her inner self was cheering wildly. Her cheeks flushed red as countless thoughts rushed through her mind. That Alex would propose here, then they would get married, and also what the children's names should be. Hello, Anna? Hello? Alex called from the other side after receiving no response. Anna snapped back to reality and cursed herself internally. What a dummy I am. Yes, we can meet. Where would you like to go? She asked, regaining her composure. That coffee shop was nice. Shall we go there again? Alex suggested. Sure. When? Anna replied. At 4 p.m. After the call ended, Anna let out a piercing, high-pitched scream that echoed through the room. Sophia! Immediately, the door to her room slammed open with a violent bang. Sophia entered like a sudden gust of wind, her hand already reaching for a concealed weapon, her eyes scanning for an assassin. What happened, my lady? She asked, her voice tight with panic. Anna's face was no longer its usual porcelain pale. It had turned a shade of deep, pulsing crimson. When Sophia saw her mistress's state, clutching her cheeks and squirming on the bed, the panic vanished from her eyes and was replaced instantly by a look of profound disdain. Is it Alex? Sophia asked flatly. How? How do you know? Anna stammered, her eyes wide with frantic energy. I wonder how. You are utterly hopeless, my lady. What happened this time? Sophia asked, crossing her arms and leaning against the doorframe. Alex wants to meet me at the cafe, and I want to look good. I need to be perfect, Anna cried. But you always cover your face with a heavy lace veil, Sophia pointed out dryly. In fact, I believe Alex has not seen your actual face yet. What is the point of a nice dress if you look like a mourning widow from the neck up? Wah! Anna's brain seemed to short-circuit as she realized the glaring flaw in her logic. She had been so focused on her social status that she had constantly covered her face, even during their previous coffee shop time. And in the wilderness training, they had all been encased in high-tech, full-body combat suits. Effectively, they were strangers to each other's physical appearances. You are just now realizing this? Sophia sighed, rubbing her temples. What do I do then? Should I show him? Should I stay veiled? Anna asked, her voice rising in pitch. That is entirely up to you. But I suppose I can choose a dress that doesn't make you look like a gothic tragedy? Sophia replied, moving toward the walk-in closet. After ending the call, Alex attempted to return to his research file. He suddenly remembered the bet he had won against Aaron during their recent confrontation. The stakes had been high, and it was time to collect his debt. He dialed Aaron's number directly. Hello? Who is this? A voice answered on the third ring. Aaron sounded guarded. though the caller ID undoubtedly betrayed Alex's identity. "I am your primary debtor," Alex said, his voice dropping into a sub-zero chill. "Send me the SS-grade body cultivation technique you promised, or else I am going to take our written contract directly to the vice president." "Whom are you threatening?" "I am not afraid of you," Aaron shouted, though his voice shook like a leaf in a storm. "I'll give you the technique after the semester officially starts." Not a moment before. Aaron hung up abruptly. He knew he was utterly cornered. The contract was written. With a trembling hand, he dialed his father's private line, dreading the conversation that would follow. At 3:30 p.m., Alex opted for a classic, understated look. He wore a fitted black t-shirt that accentuated his lean, athletic build and a pair of crisp white trousers. This time, he didn't use his spirit master flight abilities to traverse the city. Instead, he signaled for his family's luxury sedan to transport him. On the other side of the city, Anna had already been sitting in the coffee shop for 30 minutes. She was a bundle of raw nerves, her hands shaking as she adjusted her skirt. Alex arrived at the shop and stepped inside. He was immediately struck by the silence. The entire establishment was empty of customers. There were no male staff members in sight. Only a handful of female waitresses stood at attention near the walls. In the center of the room sat a girl. She wasn't wearing a veil this time. She wore a sophisticated black dress that contrasted sharply with her radiant, almost luminescent skin. Alex stopped in his tracks, momentarily stunned by her ethereal beauty. She is this beautiful? No wonder she always hides herself. If the general public saw her without a barrier, the streets would be in a state of constant riot. Alex moved forward and pulled out the chair opposite her. "Sorry, did I make you wait long?" Anna was startled, jumping slightly in her seat. She forced a shy, dazzling smile. No, I have only just arrived," she lied, her heart hammering against her ribs. "By the way, Anna, you are breathtaking," Alex said, his voice casual yet intense. "How are you this beautiful? Is the genetic lottery from your mother's side or your father's?" Alex leaned across the table, resting his chin on his hand. He narrowed his eyes, playfully analyzing her features from inches away. Anna felt as if hot steam were venting from her ears. Her heart beat like a war drum in her chest. Too close, she screamed internally. Her mind descended into a complete meltdown. "Ahem, Master Alex, what would you like to order?" Sophia appeared suddenly, dressed in a professional waitress uniform. Seeing Anna's eyes roll back into her head from the sheer proximity of her crush, Sophia had decided to intervene before her mistress fainted into her espresso. Alex sat back, giving Anna some breathing room. He ordered 2 premium coffees for them. "Hey, Anna, I actually wanted to ask you something important." Anna took a deep breath, clutching the table to steady herself. "Yes? What is it?" "It is about the ancestor of your family, Sir Alindros," Alex said, getting straight to the point. "He is regarded as the strongest spirit master on Earth. I was wondering if he would be open to giving me some personal guidance." Anna didn't even blink. "You want to learn from my great-grandpa? Of course, he will teach you. Let's go now. The coffee at our estate is far superior anyway. We have 2 other spirit masters in the main house, including my cousin. I'll make sure all of them teach you. Don't worry," she promised on their behalf without a second thought. Sophia's mouth twitched. Anna was the final boss of the Celestis clan. Her word was law because the ancestor spoiled her to a ridiculous degree. But she had just volunteered the world's most powerful man to be a personal tutor. Then again, Sophia reasoned this is Alex Moriarty. The tower labeled him the highest-class genius in the known universe. No one actually knows the limits of his talent. "Huh? Are you sure?" Alex asked, surprised by the lack of hesitation. "Don't you need to ask them first? I was prepared to get a formal recommendation letter from the vice president." Anna waved her hand dismissively. "I am the recommendation letter. Do you want to go now or sometime later?" "If you're serious, then let's go," Alex replied. Classes start in 2 days. I'd like to be back by then. Sophia, have the private airship readied immediately. We are leaving, Anna commanded. Butterflies danced in her stomach at the thought of Alex staying at her home. Soon, a dark King-class airship, a marvel of tech engineering, lifted off from Aurora City. Alex sent a brief message to his mother, informing her that he would be an official guest of the Celestis family for the weekend. As the ship departed, William immediately informed Arthur. That brat didn't even give me a call? Arthur snorted. Directly went off with his little girlfriend to the most powerful estate in the region. Despite his grumbling, Arthur turned to his shadow guards. Order 3 emperors to follow the ship. The airship touched down on the private landing pad of the Celestis Mountain Retreat. 2 long rows of maids and elite servants stood in perfect formation. We welcome Lady Anna, they shouted in unison. We welcome Master Alex Moriarty. We hope the 2 of you can live a long and happy life together. Anna's face turned a violent shade of crimson again. She knew exactly which mischievous person had coached the servants to say that. She was too embarrassed to rebuke them. Alex looked at the servants and gave a polite, dignified nod. Thank you, everyone. He acted as if he hadn't even heard the second half of their greeting. Anna was secretly a bit disappointed by his lack of reaction. At the same time, she heaved a massive sigh of relief. Alex, let me go find my father and ask where great-grandpa is. Before she could finish her sentence, a cataclysmic weight dropped from the sky. It wasn't just physical gravity. It was a soul-crushing spiritual pressure that turned the air into lead. The reinforced stone floor beneath Alex's feet cracked and splintered. He stayed upright, but his knees buckled. Blood began to trickle from the corner of his mouth. Great-grandpa, stop! Anna roared, her voice cracking with fear. She fell to her knees, unable to withstand Alex's condition. Please, let Alex go. Punish me instead if you must. Please. She couldn't understand why the ancestor would launch a surprise attack on a guest. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the pressure vanished. The air became light again. Alex took a ragged, deep breath. He felt his internal organs settle. It was as if his skeleton had been on the verge of turning into powder. A middle-aged man with dark hair descended slowly from the clouds. His feet never touched the ground. Every servant and guard knelt instantly, their foreheads touching the cold stone. Greetings, ancestor. The man, Elindros Celestis, landed softly in front of Anna. Stand up, silly girl. How could I ever punish you? I was merely testing the weight of your little friend's soul. He passed. Barely. Alex wiped the blood from his lip and activated his eye of revelation. Name Elindros Celestis. Talent, telekinesis, SS grade. Rank, level 9 Emperor. Note, he is currently on par with the President of the Alliance in raw combat power. He can precisely control 25 objects of any mass simultaneously. Alex was stunned. The man wasn't a traditional spirit master. He was a telekinetic talent holder who had likely a spirit master too. It was a terrifying combination. Alex bowed deeply. Sir, I am Alex Moriarty. It is a profound honor to meet the man who holds up the sky. Elindros narrowed his eyes, his gaze piercing through Alex's very spirit. Arthur called me earlier. He said you wanted guidance from me. But tell me, boy, why should I waste my time on you? What do I gain? Alex looked the legendary emperor in the eye. His expression shifted from respectful to audacious. You should guide me so that when I inevitably become the strongest existence on this planet, you can tell the world that you were the one who pointed me toward the summit. What else does a man of your stature desire, if not the ultimate prestige of being the teacher of a mythical being? The entire courtyard fell into a profound silence for a moment after Alex's bold declaration. The servants and disciples held their breath, waiting for the sky to fall. Then, Elindros burst into a booming, thunderous laugh that rattled the windows of the estate. Ha ha, brat, I like your spirit. Let me see if you are all talk and no essence or if you can actually back up those lofty words. But before I waste my breath on guidance, you will have to fight someone at your own level to show me your true prowess. Alex maintained a calm, confident smile. All right, who is my opponent? He asked curiously. Darian Celestis, Anna's cousin. He is a grandmaster and a third-year student from the Zenith Martial Academy. I have heard reports of what you accomplished in the wilderness, but those were beasts. I want to see how you deal with a real human martial grandmaster who is also an accomplished spirit master, Alindros said, his eyes narrowing with expectation. Alex paused for a moment, his mind calculating the risks. I agree, but I have a single condition, Alex replied. Oh? And what might that be? We will fight in a secluded location where no one can witness our battle except for you, Anna, and perhaps 2 or 3 absolutely trusted members of your choosing. My specific abilities must not become public knowledge, Alex said, his voice dropping into a tone of absolute seriousness. He was well aware that the Monster Association was actively seeking his head. Keeping his specific talents hidden from the world was his greatest strategic advantage. Alindros was surprised by the maturity of the request. He, too, was dying to know the exact nature of the talent belonging to the top genius of the universe. Very well, I agree to your terms. Shall we begin? Alindros asked. Let's. Alex nodded. From the group of inner disciples, a handsome young man stepped forward. He moved with a feline grace that spoke of years of high-level martial arts training. Hello, I am Darian. I have been looking forward to fighting the man who Anna. Before he could finish his sentence, Anna's hand blurred. She threw a throwing knife with lethal precision, aiming directly for his forehead. The blade stopped abruptly, frozen by a telekinetic flick just an inch from Darian's skin. Darian laughed excitedly, not even blinking at the near-death experience. See? Look at how much my baby sister loves me. You better be worthy, Alex, or she'll never forgive me for beating you. A sister complex? Yikes, Alex thought, keeping his expression neutral as he activated his Eye of Revelation. Name, Darian Celestis. Talent, Illusion, SS grade. Rank, Grandmaster level 7. Note, he can manifest illusions so vivid they are indistinguishable from reality. It is nearly impossible for his enemies to differentiate between truth and falsehood during the heat of battle. Alex nodded inwardly. An SS rank illusion talent was terrifyingly versatile, though he felt a pang of disappointment that it wasn't an elemental talent he could easily copy and master. I am looking forward to the fight, brother. I hope you will go easy on a newcomer like me, Alex said calmly. Darian's playful demeanor vanished, replaced by the sharp focus of a hunter. Behind Darian stood 5 other students, all clad in the prestigious gold and black uniforms of the Zenith Martial Academy. They had clearly traveled with him to witness his homecoming. A girl in the group, Emily, stared at Alex. For a moment, her heart seemed to skip a beat at his sheer presence. But as she regained her composure, she whispered to her companion. He is probably the most handsome man alive. He even puts Darian to shame. But as good-looking as he is, he's up against the Darian Celestis, the demon among demons. Alex only awakened a few days ago. Is he really ready for this? A male student beside her snickered. Emily, you really haven't been keeping up with the news, have you? What did I miss? She asked, confused. That boy just soloed 67 berserk high-grade grandmaster-level beasts. Every top martial academy on the planet is currently drawing up plans to snatch him away from the Aurora Martial Institution. He's not just a genius, he's a menace. Really? Do you know what his talent is? Emily asked, her curiosity piqued. No one knows. The entire Martial Alliance is protecting his file like a mother hen. Every hidden family that tried to probe his background got a direct warning from the vice president of the Alliance. Stop looking, or consider it a declaration of war. That's serious? Man, I really want to see him fight now. It's a shame he insisted on a private match, Emily said with a sigh of frustration. Suddenly, Alex's communicator chirped. He glanced at the ID and answered. Hello, Mr. Vice President? Alex, Are you planning to reveal your true talent in this fight? Arthur's voice came through, clear and direct. Alex wasn't surprised that Arthur was tracking his movements. Possibly. Darian looks very powerful. I might be forced to use everything I have. In that case, can I come and watch? Arthur asked. Sure, if you want to, Alex replied flatly. Arthur ended the call immediately. Alindros, whose hearing was sharp enough to catch the conversation, snorted with disdain. That old bastard can't control his curiosity anymore. Can he? Within 30 seconds, a tremendous spiritual pressure descended upon the Celestis estate. The 3 Emperor-level guards who had been tailoring Alex from the shadows suddenly manifested and bowed deeply toward the sky. Arthur descended like a meteor, landing silently in the center of the courtyard. Everyone present, save for Alindros and Alex, knelt immediately. We welcome Vice President Arthur. Are you a common robber, Arthur? Why have you entered my home without permission? Alindros asked, his voice dripping with mock annoyance. Shut up, you old fossil. If you think your clan doesn't have a secure enough facility to suppress the information of this battle, we can move it to the Alliance headquarters. Arthur countered coldly. What do you think the Celestis family is? Playground? I won't bicker with you further. Let's go, Alindros said, turning on his heel. As the group began to move toward the private training grounds, Anna's grandfather, Max, appeared out of nowhere. How can you leave me out of the fun? Max asked, his eyes twinkling. Stop being childish, Max. Alindros scolded him. Max winced, bowing his head. Sorry, father. Alex looked at Max and felt his pulse quicken as the Eye of Revelation updated. Name, Max Celestis. Talent, Light Manipulation, SS grade. Rank, Emperor level 8. Note, he can manipulate photons for healing and combat. His most dangerous ability is Luminous Acceleration, which allows him to increase his movement speed 5 times unconditionally. 5 times unconditional speed? I need that, Alex thought. He didn't hesitate. Grandpa Max, it's an honor. May I shake your hand? Alex asked with an innocent, polite smile. The entire group stopped in their tracks. You want to shake my hand? Max asked, surprised. Sure, kid. He reached out. Ding. Elemental talent. Light manipulation detected. Copy it? Copy. Alex felt the surge of new data integrate into his soul as he released the hand. Brat, you came here seeking guidance from me, yet you didn't ask to shake my hand. Alindros barked, his eyes narrowing. Do you think Max's approval is the key to Anna's hand of marriage? Let me tell you, until I approve of you, no one takes her anywhere. What are you talking about, master? Grandpa Max has a righteous, warm aura around him. As for you, you attacked me the moment I stepped off the airship. How would I dare ask for a handshake? Max felt a surge of immense pride and smirked at his father. Alindros snorted coldly, and a sudden, localized burst of spiritual pressure slammed into Max. Immediately, Max was pinned to the ground like a pancake. What are you smirking at, you failure of a son? Alindros grumbled before walking away. I've changed my mind, Alex. You now have to soundly defeat Darian if you want a single word of guidance from me. Alex smiled wryly and leaned toward Anna's ear, his breath tickling her skin. Is the geezer always this temperamental? Anna's face turned a violent shade of crimson at the proximity, her brain nearly short-circuiting. Arthur burst into laughter. You hit the nail on the head, kid. He's an old, grumpy geezer. A sad, angry soul. Darian, Alindros shouted, pointing at his grandson. If you don't pummel this brat until I am satisfied, don't bother coming home for a year. Darian looked like he was on the verge of tears. Why are you taking your anger out on me? He muttered under his breath, though he didn't dare say it aloud. All right, great-grandpa. I'll do as you say. They stepped into the private training sanctum, a reinforced bunker designed specifically for the heavy-duty combat of the family's emperors. The walls were lined with multi-layered runic arrays and soul-suppressing lead to ensure no shockwaves leaked into the estate. No commoner or low-level family member was ever permitted to set foot in this hallowed hall. "You can go all out here," Alindros stated, his voice echoing against the cold, metallic surfaces. "The barriers will hold." Alex and Darian took their positions at the center of the arena. Anna stood by the entrance, her hands white-knuckled and trembling. She knew the terrifying reputation Darian held at Zenith Martial Academy. They called him the Demon King for a reason. He was the type of combatant who didn't just defeat opponents. He dismantled them. Whether facing humans or monsters, no one had lasted more than 60 seconds against him in over a year. Even the Academy's SSS-rank talent holder was considered a tier below Darian's sheer combat instinct. "Do you have any flying knives, Vice President?" Alex asked, turning toward Arthur. "My specialized wristband is currently in the research lab, and 3 knives won't be enough for this." Darian raised an eyebrow, a flicker of surprise crossing his handsome features. "How many knives can you actually manipulate simultaneously?" 10. Alex replied with a hint of dissatisfaction. He was comparing himself to Alindros, who could juggle 25 with the grace of a conductor. Darian's face twitched, his pride taking a subtle hit. He was the most celebrated spirit master at Zenith specifically because he could control 7. It was a feat he had only achieved after reaching level 7 Grandmaster. Before that, his limit had been 5. "I hope you can endure what's coming," Darian said, his playful tone vanishing into a deadly chill. "I apologize in advance if you sustain some injuries." Suddenly, Darian's presence exploded. The air around him sharpened. A single flying knife slid under his boots, lifting him into the air where he hovered, hands clasped calmly behind his back. "Oh, he's taking the boy seriously from the very first second," Alindros muttered, leaning forward with genuine interest. Alindros produced 10 silver slivers from a storage ring and tossed them toward Alex. "Brat, those are the flying knives I used when I was at the Saint level. They are sharper and more durable than any standard Saint-class artifact. If you win this, consider them yours." Alex nodded politely. The 10 knives immediately snapped into a rotating orbit around him like a divine shield. His own aura shifted, turning cold and focused. Swish! With a sound like tearing silk, a knife blurred toward Alex at the speed of sound. It was a probe, a test of his reflexes. Alex parried it with one of his own blades, the impact ringing out like a hammer on an anvil. The force behind Darian's strike was at least 500 tons. Alex's eye of revelation flared as he scanned his opponent's combat data. Strength, 25,000 tons. Speed, 1,000 m/s. Defense, 25,000 tons. Spirit, 1,000 tons. His stats are monstrous, Alex realized. Darian's physical power already surpassed a standard level 9 Grandmaster, whose ceiling was typically 20,000 tons. In a straight contest of raw power, I am nowhere near his level. And he hasn't even touched his primary talent yet. Alex thought again. Boom! Boom! The 6 remaining knives in Darian's arsenal began raining down like meteors. Despite having the numerical advantage with 10 blades, Alex was struggling. Darian's control was so heavy and precise that Alex was being driven backward. His feet carved deep grooves into the reinforced floor. A thin trickle of blood escaped the corner of Alex's mouth. Anna took a step forward, about to scream for the match to end. Alindros held up a hand, silencing her. "Give up, Alex," Darian's voice rang out, cold and dispassionate. "You are a genius, but you simply haven't had the time to grow. We can finish this when you reach my level. I have no doubt you will get there soon." Alex wiped the blood from his lip, his eyes narrowing. "My existential nullity won't affect his spirit master manipulation directly since that's a mental force. Looks like it's time to introduce him to gravity." He calculated the threshold of Darian's strength. 200 times. 200 times gravity, Alex commanded internally. The air itself seemed to solidify. With Darian's strength, the 200x multiplier wouldn't kill him. But it would force him to divert 90% of his energy into simply remaining upright. Boom! Darien was slammed into the floor. The knife beneath him snapped under the sudden, localized weight. He was caught completely off guard. What? Gravity manipulation. Arthur and Alindros hissed in unison. But that shouldn't be his core talent. Anna has that, and it's only SSS rank. But Alex wasn't finished. He flicked his fingers like a puppeteer. His 10 flying knives vanished into thin air. They reappeared from blind spots, screaming toward the pinned Darien. Darien was wearing a high-tier Saint-level battlesuit. The blades couldn't pierce his vitals. But the kinetic energy of the impacts hit him like cannonballs. Alex didn't let up, raining down a relentless barrage. Darien struggled to his feet, roaring as he poured his spirit energy into creating a counterpressure. He fought the very air around him. His offensive precision crumbled. He couldn't track the knives because they were blinking in and out of existence. Space manipulation? 2 top-tier talents simultaneously. Max exclaimed, his eyes wide. With spirit master abilities, that combination is a nightmare. It looks like my grandson has no choice now, Max added, a grim smile forming. He has to use the very power that earned him the title of Demon King. Ah! Darien let out a primal roar, activating his illusion talent. Instantly, the clinical training room dissolved. The walls melted into a jagged, blood-red wilderness. Darien vanished from Alex's sight. The gravity field became useless. Without a visual or spiritual lock on his target, Alex was punching at shadows. 3 gargantuan, obsidian-skinned monsters materialized from the red mist. They charged at Alex with earth-shaking footsteps. They're just illusions, Alex told himself. They can't touch me. Boom! An ape-like monstrosity punched Alex squarely in the chest. The sensation was indistinguishable from reality. Alex felt his ribs groan as he was sent flying like a ragdoll across the wilderness. Ha! He fell for the trap, Alindros muttered. Darien's illusions manifest in the target's neural pathways as well as in the reality. The brain believes the damage is real, so the body reacts as if it were. Unless your mental strength is a full tier above his, you are fighting ghosts that can break your bones. To make matters worse, Darien's 7 knives re-emerged from the mist. They sought Alex's life. Between the physical phantoms and the invisible spirit master strikes, the situation was dire. Alex, stop. You can't win against a monster like him. Anna screamed into the void of the arena. Alex tumbled, skidding across the dirt. He parried the flying knives with desperate, clashing strikes. Then he started to laugh. Ha! That was an incredible sequence, brother. We really should train together more often. Now let's finish this. What is he talking about? Alindros's expression soured. He's being systematically dismantled. Is he so arrogant that he thinks he's won? I'm disappointed. Then, Alex snapped his fingers. The sound was like a gunshot. The entire wilderness shattered like a pane of glass. The red sky, the monsters, and the mist crumbled into nothingness. The sterile gray walls of the training room were revealed once more. Darien was standing in the far corner. His eyes were wide with pure, unadulterated horror. He tried to pull on his power. He tried to manifest a new nightmare. But he felt empty. The connection to his soul talent had been severed. It was as if the very concept of illusion had been erased from his DNA. You cannot use your talent in my presence, Alex said, his voice terrifyingly calm. He stood in the opposite corner, looking unruffled. Do you wish to continue the physical bout? Darien's knees hit the floor. The Demon King looked soulless. I admit defeat, he whispered. Never in his wildest nightmares had he imagined a world where his power simply ceased to exist. Alex deactivated existential nullity. The weight of his talent returned to Darien's soul. Because their ranks were both within the Grandmaster tier, Alex's suppression was absolute. A 100% lockout. The room was deathly silent. Even Arthur and Alindros stood with their jaws agape. Alex slammed into the ground after the battle, his body crashing hard into the earth. He had taken serious damage. Now that the fight was over, the pain rushed back all at once. It felt as if every single cell in his body was screaming. Arthur appeared beside Alex and handed him a healing serum. "Drink this," he said in a serious tone. "Thank you, Vice President," Alex said weakly. "Please give one to Brother Darian as well. He is injured too." Alex took the vial and drank it in one go. A warm energy immediately flowed through his body, spreading into every limb. His injuries began healing at an astonishing speed. After 5 minutes, Alex felt completely fine. He stood up and looked toward Darian. Max had already given Darian a healing potion as well. His body was recovering, but his expression was empty. He stood there in despair. The sudden defeat had hit him too hard, and the momentary disappearance of his talent had left deep fear in his heart. He could not accept what had happened so suddenly. "Kid, tell me," Arthur asked directly. "What was that?" Everyone turned to look at Alex at the same time. Even Anna stared at him without blinking. "It is my bloodline talent, existential nullity," Alex said calmly. "When I activate it, all talent holders within my range are suppressed. If they are the same rank as me or lower, their talents are completely sealed. If they are higher rank, the suppression is weaker." Arthur swallowed hard. If Alex could suppress an enemy's talent and still use his own terrifying combinations of attacks, then who in this world could possibly stand in front of him? No wonder the tower had called him the greatest talent in the universe. They didn't even know they just scratched the surface of this true abilities. Alindros took a deep breath. "This battle never happened today," he said coldly. "No one knows what his talent is. Is that understood?" He looked at Anna, Max, and Darian with sharp eyes. The fate of humanity rested on this boy. Alindros would not compromise that for family pride or personal benefit. Arthur nodded as well. He had considered writing a report about what happened today, but he decided against it. If any record existed, there was always a chance it could be stolen. "Boy," Alindros said, turning to Alex, "why don't you stay with my family? I will teach you everything. The academy would be a waste of your time." Arthur agreed. It was clearly the best choice. He looked at Alex and spoke seriously. "You should stay here and train. Once you truly break through to the Grandmaster level, you will be able to challenge the Inheritance Tower." "Inheritance Tower?" Alex asked. "What is that?" "It is another gift from the universe," Arthur explained. "Anyone with A rank talent or higher can challenge it under 20 years old. Inside, they can choose the type of inheritance trial they want to challenge, such as Elementalist, Weapon Master, Physical Master, or Spirit Master. Alindros obtained an A-rank Spirit Master inheritance," Arthur continued. "That is why he is so powerful. Among the true elites of the light domain, status is decided mainly by inheritance, not by raw talent alone." "What exactly are these inheritances?" Alex asked in surprise. "You gain techniques that do not exist on Earth," Arthur said. "You can also obtain weapons, rare resources, and many other things. What you gain depends on the level of inheritance you win. Even the president is only an S-rank inheritance holder. We have very high expectations for you." Alex finally understood. If his Spirit Master abilities were lacking, the Inheritance Tower might be the key. Still, he wanted to train under Alindros. "Very well, Vice President," Alex said. "Please tell my mother not to worry." "Grow up fast, kid," Arthur muttered. "We will need you much sooner than we imagined." He then looked at Alindros. "The hope of humanity is under your protection. I will send 10 more emperors to guard this place. Train him well." Alindros nodded. "Anna," he said calmly, "show him his room in the VIP guest area. Let him rest first. You do not need to attend the academy either. Train with him." With that, Alindros left the training ground. Anna's heart was pounding. She felt happier than she had ever been. "Okay, great-grandpa," she muttered. She walked up to Alex's side. "Alex, shall we go?" "Please," Alex said with a smile. "Sorry for the trouble. It looks like I will be your guest for a while." Anna nodded. unable to hide the grin forming on her face. Alex was led to his room. It was a massive and luxurious space, complete with a private cultivation room and a training area. "You should take a shower," Anna said. "Food will be delivered to your room. Rest tonight." She left quickly, finding it hard to breathe after being in the same room as Alex for so long. "Thank you," Alex said softly. He entered the bathroom. While soaking in the bathtub, Alex thought quietly. "There is a cultivation device here. I need to break through quickly. Advancing at higher levels will take more and more time. From the looks of things, the upper echelon is facing serious trouble." After bathing, he put on comfortable clothes and ate the food that was delivered. Then he entered the cultivation room. He did not need rest. He needed to cultivate. The room itself was simple, but a massive device stood at its center, ensuring a constant and stable energy supply. Alex opened his panel and pressed Cultivation. Boom! A violent energy vortex formed around him. The absorption rate reached 21 million per second. In 14 seconds, he broke through to level 17. Cultivation level 17. Cultivation base 1.2B/2.4B. Energy absorption 24 m/s. 24 seconds later, he broke through to level 18. Cultivation level 18. Cultivation base 2.4B/24B. Energy absorption 27 m/s. The energy required to break through to level 19 increased tenfold. This breakthrough would be a massive leap. He would enter a completely new level of existence. At level 19, he would qualify to challenge the Inheritance Tower. In the martial system, level 19 of his system corresponded to the Grandmaster rank. He needed around 15 minutes to break through. Strength 5,200 tons. Speed 600 m/s. Defense 5,200 tons. Spirit 750 tons. 15 minutes later, his cultivation base filled completely. Breakthrough. Boom, boom. Alex advanced to level 19. His entire existence transformed. Strength 52,000 tons. Speed 1,500 m/s. Defense 52,000 tons. Spirit 3,500 tons. His strength now surpassed every Grandmaster on Earth. Cultivation level 19. Cultivation base 24B/48B. Energy absorption 270 m/s. That night, Alex did not stop cultivating. He cultivated continuously for 8 hours. Cultivation level 33. Cultivation base 2.64Q/3.9Q. Q equals quadrillion. Energy absorption 151.2B/s. That night, Alex became a monster among monsters. In a single night, he reached level 33, which corresponded to the Martial Lord level 5. But his strength far exceeded that level. Strength 2 megaton. Speed 5,000 m/s. Defense 2 megaton. Spirit 0.5 megaton. 1 megaton equals 1 million tons. Combat prowess level 9 Martial Lord. A normal level 9 Martial Lord possessed around 1.8 megatons of strength. Alex felt like he might destroy everything if he moved carelessly. His body needed time to adapt, or he would become a walking disaster. Despite his rapid growth, Alex knew the hardest part was still ahead. The gap between his cultivation base and energy absorption was widening. At this rate, it would take around 70 years of non-stop cultivation to reach level 72, equivalent to Emperor level 9. That was unacceptable. He needed to increase his absorption speed by at least 10 times. But that would be hard to achieve. His strength would far surpass other emperors, and 70 years was not a big number for an emperor who had lifespan of 5,000 years. But Alex was not that patient. "I need to find a way, and soon." Alex stood up and left the cultivation room. The passive cultivation also stopped as the cultivation device was switched off. There was no way normal places could uphold his cultivation. He moved with extreme slowness. His body had become a dense concentration of power. He was a living weapon of terrifying magnitude, and he feared that even a careless movement might bring the ceiling down. Instead of using his hands, he used his mental strength to push the door open. The wood was strong enough to withstand the strike of a saint, but he refused to take unnecessary risks. He stepped into the private training room and released a heavy sigh of relief. These rooms were reinforced with high-grade, energy-absorbent materials designed for combat. Finally, he could move freely. He began striking the air with full force. Boom! Boom! Each punch sounded like a localized explosion. Violent shockwaves rippled through the air, slamming into the reinforced walls like physical tides. He moved his body in every way possible. He twisted, lunged, sprinted, and adjusted his stance repeatedly. This was not training. This was synchronization. He was bridging the gap between his mind and his newly elevated physical limits. After an hour, the feeling of being a clumsy giant faded. He finally felt complete control over his strength. His spirit power had helped him greatly, but his physical attributes always surpassed his spirit. Every major breakthrough required this recalibration. Otherwise, he would become a walking disaster. A soft knock suddenly echoed at the main door. "Alex, are you awake? Food is ready." Anna's voice came through. To anyone listening, she sounded like a newlywed wife calling her husband for breakfast. Alex finished his set and opened the door. He was drenched in sweat. "Whoa, what were you doing? Didn't you sleep?" Anna asked, her eyes widening. "No, I've been cultivating," Alex replied with a tired but bright smile. "Give me a moment to shower, and I'll head to the dining hall." "All right," she whispered. As Alex closed the door, Anna's face turned bright red. She could feel the weight of her family's teasing. They had joked that she was waking her husband for breakfast. She had even woken up early to help the chefs. She had been too excited to sleep, thinking about training with him. "Ah!" she squeaked softly to herself. Her face burned as she hurried back to the hall. Alex showered, changed into fresh clothes, and walked toward the dining area. "Good morning, Master Alex. Have you slept well?" the maids asked. Their faces were red as he passed. Today, every unmarried woman in the Celestis family was dressed with extreme care. From high-born cousins to household staff, everyone wore their finest clothes. All of them wanted the attention of the young man who had captured the family's imagination. Even the maids, who were equivalent to supreme masters in the outside world, were not immune to his presence. Alex stopped, completely confused. "Good morning. Is there some occasion I don't know about?" he asked. "Why is everyone so shining?" He directed the question at one of the maids. The maid nearly fainted. Out of everyone, he had chosen to ask her. This was a historic moment in the Celestis household. "No, Master Alex," she replied, barely able to breathe. "Everyone in the Celestis family simply likes to be well-dressed." "Is that so?" Alex asked. His tone was filled with suspicion. He entered the massive dining hall. Following tradition, hundreds of family members were seated together. Young and old sat at a table that seemed endless. Even Martial Kings and higher, who no longer needed food, gathered here to maintain family bonds. "Good morning, Master. When do we start training?" Alex asked Alindros, who sat at the head of the table. "Brat, just eat," Alindros replied. "We will start after that." A rare paternal smile appeared on his face. "Then don't mind me if I eat too much. I'm a big foodie," Alex said with a grin. He sat next to Darian and piled his plate high. "Brother, how is your injury?" Darian snorted, but there was no real anger. "Monster, you injured me and now you show sympathy. Who attacks their brother-in-law like that?" "What brother-in-law?" Alex replied with a perfectly straight face. "I am the student of your great-grandpa. Call me Grandpa at least." Max's face twitched at a corner. The audacity of this kid placing himself on the same generational level as them was unbelievable. The entire table burst into laughter. "Brother, you are something else," a young girl giggled. "I've never seen Brother Darian like this." He went from a lion to a kitten. Alex continued eating like it was his final meal. Anna, watching from across the table, finally spoke. "How is the food?" The dining hall went silent. Every eye turned toward Alex. Everyone knew Anna had helped cook. They waited to see if he would fall into the trap. "The food tastes really good," Alex said honestly. "It feels like someone cooked it with love and care. Your chef must be very skilled and truly love his job." Anna's face turned bright red. Some family members looked away, disappointed as there was no drama. Others were impressed. Alex had unknowingly passed the test perfectly. "Hey, Brother Darian," Alex asked while eating, "are the women in your family always this sophisticated? Because the men look like working-class people. What's the catch?" Darian's face twitched again. "Bro, please, just eat and let me eat," he said. "I have to return to the academy soon." "Academy? Why?" Alex asked casually. "Stay here and practice with me." Darian's eyes lit up with hope. "Are you sure?" "Of course," Alex replied. "It's your house, and I can use you as a sparring partner." Darian turned to Alindros with pleading eyes. He did not want to leave the side of a future legend. Alindros remained firm. Did you forget what I said? Do you want me to break my word?" "Master, is this about him not coming home for a year if he can't beat me?" Alex asked. "Yes," Alindros replied calmly. "Master, don't be too hard on him," Alex said while waving a chicken leg. "Even if you were your younger self and fought me, I'm sure I couldn't have pummeled you easily." Cough, cough. Every male at the table suddenly developed a dry throat. They shook with the effort to hold in laughter. Laughing at the ancestor meant death. "Father, I am done eating." "Thank you for the meal," Max said quickly. "Me too, ancestor." "Me too." In an instant, the men and servants fled the hall. Only the women, Alex, and a very irritated Alindros remained. "Hey, Anna," Alex said. "Can you pass me those? They look delicious." Alindros's mouth twitched violently. It looked like a muscle spasm. He wanted to swallow this arrogant brat whole. "My dear disciple," he said with a smile which was not a smile, "you have eaten enough. Let's go practice. I am suddenly very motivated to train you. Come with me." "But master, the food," Alex protested, his mouth still full. Alindros did not argue. He waved his hand. A cocoon of mental energy wrapped around Alex. Alex floated behind him like a helpless sack of potatoes. Anna followed closely. A hidden smile tugged at her lips. The moment they left earshot, the dining hall exploded in laughter. "Ha ha! I'll die!" One of the female cousins gasped. "I'm canceling all my meetings. I am not missing a single moment of this drama." Alindros led him into the reinforced training hall and, without warning, slammed him onto the ground. Despite the impact, Alex's physique, which now surpassed even level 9 martial lords, made the floor feel like soft hay. He felt no pain, but he was a quick study in social cues. He grunted and winced, acting as if the blow had actually landed. "Master, be gentle with your disciple. How can you be so harsh?" he complained, dusting off his clothes. "Brat, I am going to put you through a very harsh training regime," Alindros countered, his eyes burning with a stern intensity. "Master, before that, I have a question," Alex asked, straightening up. "How many objects can you control at a single time?" 25, Alindros replied proudly, crossing his arms. "Were you always able to control 25? "No," Alindros replied slowly, leaning back. "My innate talent is telekinesis, which naturally amplified my spirit master capabilities. At first, I could only control 5 objects. With telekinesis active, that number jumped to 15. After my inheritance trial, I obtained a specialized technique that allowed me to push the limit by 5 more. But that is only 20, Alex noted. Where did the remaining 5 come from? I received a boost when I reached Grandmaster level 7. My limit expanded to 22 then. After I finally broke through to the Emperor realm, I underwent my final evolution and reached 25. Alindros explained. Alex nodded thoughtfully. So that means, without your talent and your inheritance, your natural limit is just 10? The same as mine. The words hit Alindros like a physical blow to his pride as a spirit master. Yes, but you can't exactly deny the value of my talent. Can you? That's true, master. Can you teach me that technique? The one that expanded your limit by 5. Alex was desperate to try something. Alindros paused, thinking for a moment. I could teach it to you, but are you sure? You can challenge the inheritance tower yourself and gain a technique perfectly suited to your own soul. As talented as you are now, you might even be able to win an SS rank trial. That's a good point. Alex nodded, falling into deep thought. Breaking the limit. Alex's mind raced. He said his limit expanded when he hit Grandmaster level 7. Right now, I have the strength of a martial lord. Does that mean my capacity has already increased? Excitement surged through him. He reached into his storage and withdrew the 10 Saint-grade flying knives his master had given him, along with the 3 he already possessed. With a flick of his fingers, all 13 knives rose into the air, hovering in a deadly, shimmering circle. What? Alindros blurted out. Your limit was 10 yesterday. How can you manipulate 13 now? He was in total disbelief. Master, do you have more knives? Please, I want to find the absolute limit. Alindros wordlessly pulled 10 more knives from his space ring. Alex focused, and a 14th knife began to float. Then a 15th. He tried for a 16th, but the knife remained on the floor. His limit had jumped from 10 to 15 overnight. Tell me, how did you do that? Alindros asked, his voice low with shock. Yesterday, I broke through to the Grandmaster level 7. Alex lied smoothly, keeping his true martial lord strength a secret. I think that's when I got the boost. What did you say? You are already a martial Grandmaster level 7? Alindros shouted. All his own years of rigorous, painful cultivation suddenly felt tasteless and slow. Actually, I'm stronger than a martial lord. Alex thought privately, but he simply nodded. Yes, master. Alindros took a long, shaky breath to steady his nerves. Now, tell me, what is it you want to learn? Master, I want to go all out. I want to test every combination of my powers. I think it would be best to try this on monsters. What do you think? The outside world is not safe for you yet, Alindros said, turning serious. If you really want to go out, I'll talk to Arthur. We will assemble a special team for you, 5 saints and 1 emperor. They won't interfere in your fights unless you are in a life-and-death situation. But before that, I want you to go all out on me. Anna had been watching from the sidelines. After hearing what Alex said, felt a sudden, sharp sting of incompetence despite being one of the light domain's greatest prodigies. Alex turned to her. Anna, I'm sorry I hid the extent of my talent before, but believe me, gravitational manipulation has far more potential than you realize. Anna's ears perked up instantly. Even Alindros listened closely to what Alex had to say about his favorite great-granddaughter's power. Alex said calmly, Gravity isn't just about increasing the pulling force of the earth. You need to develop your divine sense first. Once you can perceive things at a subatomic level, even a 1% change in pulling force can crumble an entire structure from the inside out. For now, focus on your physical defense. Make your body as strong as possible. Don't rely too much on external energy. Kid, can you really do that? Alindros asked, stunned by the theory. I can, but it's not the style I want to focus on. I'm comfortable with my current combination. Now, master, be ready. My strength increased significantly last night. I am an emperor-level spirit master. Alindros smiled, his aura flaring. Let me see what you've got. Anna left the field, her mind racing with a new training regime. She believed Alex without question. Master, here I come. Boom! The 15 flying knives vanished with a sonic crack, reappearing from unpredictable angles to strike Alindros. But the old man just smiled. He didn't even use spirit energy. He let the knives strike his raw physical body. Boom, boom, boom. The knives hammered against him like a metal storm. Huh? Did I get the geezer that easily? Alex wondered. But as the dust cleared, he saw the knives grinding against Alindros's skin, unable to leave even a scratch. Alindros had removed his suit's protection from those areas just to show off. Is that all you've got? Alindros taunted, though internally he was shaken. Alex was already stronger than he had been when he was a martial lord. Alex didn't reply. He activated gravitational manipulation, cranking it to 1,000 times normal gravity. Simultaneously, he applied his subatomic destruction theory to Alindros's suit. Alindros could feel Alex's divine sense trying to pry apart the molecular bonds of his Emperor-class battlesuit. It was enough force to shatter a king-level artifact. If Alex grew any stronger, he would be a king-killer. Alex wasn't done. He drew his sword and used blink. Boom! With a thunderous sonic boom, his sword struck Alindros. Felt like hitting a divine mountain. Master, even without energy, how is your physical body so strong? Alex asked, frustrated. Did you really think you could defeat me, brat? Alindros snorted. Now try to break my barrier. He conjured a shimmering sphere of spirit energy. Until noon, Alex threw every combination, every talent, and every ounce of strength he had at that barrier, but it remained unyielding. Okay, take a rest, Alindros finally said. You are as strong as a martial lord. I'll talk to Arthur about the team. Now tell me, do you want to challenge the Inheritance Tower? No, Master. I can challenge it any time before I turn 20, right? I'll become as powerful as I can before then to ensure I get the best possible inheritance. Very good. It is good that you aren't chasing short-term progress. Go and rest. As Alex walked away, he pulled up his status panel, looking at his talents with mounting anticipation. Talents: Eternal Sword Talent, Existential Nullity, Primordial Chaos Physique, Eye of Revelation. External Talent: 4/15 Space Manipulation, Gravitational Manipulation, Flame Manipulation, Light Manipulation. Damn, it really did increase my cap, Alex whispered. It looks like my Spirit Master talent is directly tied to this talent copying limit. Alex's determination had crystallized into something unshakable. The Inheritance Tower was no longer a distant ambition or a symbolic milestone. It was a gateway. If he wanted to expand his Spirit Master capacity and obtain a supreme technique worthy of standing at the peak, he would have to challenge it at his absolute strongest. Master, regarding the body cultivation techniques, do all emperors practice them? Are there restrictions? And what distinguishes the different types? Alex asked seriously. Alindros paused mid-step and turned toward him. The body cultivation techniques our inheritances are obtained by physical masters after completing their trials, he said. At present, there are only 10 known techniques in existence. All are ranked as S. Interestingly, each was obtained through an A-rank trial. Alex listened without interruption. Their differences lie in their foundational principles. Each technique strengthens the body using different mediums. Some temper the flesh with rare metals. Others use elemental forces such as fire, lightning, or frost. A few rely on integrating unique substances into the body's structure itself. How powerful do they become? Alex asked. There are 7 levels, Alindros explained. You may begin cultivating after breaking into the Martial Master realm. With each major realm you advance, the technique ascends 1 level. Upon reaching the Emperor realm, the 7th level grants an 8-fold permanent amplification to your defensive capabilities. Alex absorbed that quietly. A martial artist's body is already formidable, Alindros continued. With a completed body cultivation technique, it becomes nearly impenetrable. The flesh transcends ordinary durability and approaches the resilience of sacred artifacts. Can someone cultivate multiple techniques to stack their effects? Alex asked. No. Once you bind your foundation to one technique, your body rejects all others. Attempting to cultivate a second would destabilize your core and likely destroy your cultivation. Alex nodded slowly. Which technique is considered superior? I won a wager against the Nightvale clan heir. Should I claim their technique or choose another? You should select the Alliance's technique, Elindros replied without hesitation. It is the most versatile. It uses the blood essence of powerful monsters to strengthen the body naturally. It does not embed foreign metals or elemental fragments into your flesh. It enhances durability while preserving adaptability. Arthur will send you the method along with the necessary blood essence. Alex inclined his head. He left the training chamber shortly after. Hunger tugged at him. He needed a shower and a proper meal. After one more major breakthrough, he would no longer require food for survival. But for now, he remained tethered to physical needs. Elsewhere, Elindros contacted Arthur. Alex is advancing at an unimaginable speed. We must increase our investment. Assemble a dedicated team for him and send the body cultivation technique immediately. I will provide the blood essence for his first 3 breakthroughs. After that, he will enter the wilderness to obtain the remaining materials himself. And when will Julius return? Arthur responded steadily. The president is hunting near the outskirts of the Amazon forest. I have spoken with him. He and his squad will return within 7 days. After that, it will be your turn to lead a hunting expedition. Are you prepared? And I will transmit the technique shortly. My team is in peak condition, Elindros replied. We will depart once Julius returns. Arthur ended the call and gazed at the sky through his window. The sanctuary period will not last much longer, he murmured. Back in his room, Alex showered and changed into fresh clothes. Soon he would begin practicing the body cultivation technique. Once we've completed its upgrade, he intended to venture in the wilderness. His communicator vibrated suddenly. Alex, Arthur's voice came through. Do you require any additional techniques? Yes, Vice President, Alex answered honestly. I want the Annihilation Sword technique. However, I cannot afford it at the moment. Do not concern yourself with payment, Arthur said. Repay it gradually. I am sending it now. The call ended. Afterward, Alex contacted his mother and spoke with her for a while. The conversation grounded him in a quiet way. Following lunch, instead of training, he lay down and allowed himself to sleep. His body and mind needed recovery. Alex, are you awake? Anna's voice called from outside. He had just opened his eyes. With a subtle wave of his hand, the door unlocked and swung open. Anna stepped inside. Hey, what's going on? He asked. Want to go out? I know somewhere you'll like, she said with a bright smile. All right, give me a moment to get ready, Alex replied. Anna left with an expression full of anticipation. However, the moment she entered the drawing room, her smile vanished. At least 10 of her unmarried cousins stood there, all dressed carefully and clearly prepared to go out. Darian was present as well. Elindros had permitted him to remain home as long as Alex stayed within the estate. Where is Sir Alex, Anna? Asked an older cousin with refined features and a mature aura. Cousin Aaron, Anna replied coolly. You do realize Alex is practically a child compared to you? The atmosphere tightened instantly. I am only 18, Aaron said evenly. Let him decide whether he is a child. From Alex's behavior so far, it was clear he had shown no romantic inclination toward Anna. None of the girls wanted to lose the opportunity. Darian cleared his throat. If Alex sees you all like this, he might assume you are unhappy that he is staying with our family. The tension eased slightly. Moments later, Alex stepped out wearing simple casual clothes. Looks like the whole group is here. Where are we going, Brother Darian? He asked. To the underground fighting arena, Rihanna answered with a playful smile. She was 1 year younger than Anna. An underground fighting arena? What is that? Alex asked, genuinely confused. Darian produced a mask for each of them with a flick of his wrist. Wear these. I will explain during the flight. Alex chose a Batman mask. He noticed none of them wore the Celestis family crest. They departed soon after. "Father, should we send guardians to protect them?" Max asked after they left. "Yes, but if only martial kings dare to attack them, they should interfere. Otherwise let them handle the rest of the situation even if it becomes a life-and-death situation. They need to become self-sufficient," Elindros said calmly. Max nodded and left. Inside the airship, Darian explained. The underground arena functioned as a life-and-death battleground for martial artists. Violent criminals were often used as opponents. Challengers could fight them without legal consequences. Victory meant survival. Defeat meant death. Responsibility rested solely on the participants. "So that's how it works," Alex said thoughtfully. He glanced at the girls. "Do you really enjoy this kind of violence?" he asked Anna. "We are martial artists," Aaron replied before Anna could speak. "If we avoid violence, we cannot grow strong enough to survive." Alex nodded. "That makes sense." The airship landed some distance from the arena. Beyond that point, entry required walking. It was one of the arena's strict regulations. The area bustled with masked figures entering through a fortified gate. There were 12 of them in total. At the entrance, a guard studied them coldly. "How many hours?" "Full night," Darian responded. 144 high-grade cosmic crystals. Darian paid without hesitation. The guard handed each of them a card displaying a 12-hour countdown. They stepped through the gate. Inside, Alex quietly assessed the surrounding martial artists. Most were below the martial lord realm. A handful carried the presence of martial kings. None appeared stronger than that. Perhaps higher-ranked experts used different entrances. They had only taken a few steps when a rough voice called out from behind them. "Hey, you 12. Stop there." Alex turned slowly. 5 broad-shouldered men wearing animal masks approached, their gazes openly sweeping over the group. "I like the figures of you girls," the speaker said with a crude grin. 5 of you come with us, 5 brothers." The atmosphere shifted instantly. Everyone's gaze settled on the 5 of them. That was the fundamental problem with this place. Here, the son of an imperial household and a street-born delinquent were equals. No one was permitted to remove their mask. That was the absolute rule of this underground battle arena, sanctioned directly by the Tower of Ascension itself. Anyone who violated that rule would suffer punishment inflicted upon their soul. It was yet another authority wielded by the Tower. That was precisely why powerful families never allowed their heirs to wander without hidden protection. Anything could happen here. There was no law, and that absence of law was the only law that governed this place. Alex calmly scanned the 5 individuals before him. Name: Marcus Vale. Talent: Physical Enhancement, A. Rank: Martial Lord Level 5. Note: Can increase strength up to 3 times for 10 minutes. Requires 1 hour of rest before reactivation. Alex only analyzed Marcus. There was no need to waste attention on the others. He was the strongest among them. Darian stepped forward and positioned himself in front of his group. "You have 30 seconds. Apologize and leave," he said evenly. There was not the slightest fluctuation in his tone. "Huh? What did you say, punk? A silk pant young master trying to intimidate me? Do you want to die? I've changed my mind. Now I want all 10 of them. And I want you to watch what I am going to do with them," the man replied coldly. Judging from Darian's voice and the exposed portion of his face beneath the mask, they could tell he was just a teenager. They felt no fear. There was no visible guardian nearby, no intimidating aura protecting him. But Darian did not even blink. He was counting. 20, 19, 18. "Now you've pissed me off. I only wanted to have some fun. But I'll kill all of you today." Boom! With a deafening sonic crack, the man charged forward. Darian's face turned pale. The opponent was a martial lord. Without a guardian present, he stood no chance against someone of that caliber. He had never imagined that their first encounter here would be a team led by a martial lord. He waited desperately for the hidden guardian his family had arranged. But to his growing horror, no one came. "Why?" He roared and unleashed his mental force, raising 7 flying knives into the air to form a defensive shield. The surrounding spectators observed with keen interest. A gruesome spectacle was about to unfold. They could already tell. This small group of youths was far too weak to withstand a seasoned martial lord who had spent most of his life surviving in the wilderness. Huh? A spirit master? Ha! I get to crush a genius today. How entertaining. The man laughed as he punched the shield. The impact scattered all 7 flying swords instantly. Darian lacked the strength to contend with a martial lord. D. The man's expression twisted with manic delight. Alex observed silently from the side. The man's base strength was 0.7 megaton. With his talent activated, he could reach 2.1 megatons. No wonder he was so arrogant. In this sector, he was indeed among the strongest. But why did he crave killing so desperately? Why did humans attempt to take another's life and appear to enjoy it? How exactly did their brains function? Alex wanted to understand everything. In his previous life, he had read countless reports about serial killers, rapists, psychopaths. He had always feared them. Yet a part of him had always wondered, if one had food, shelter, and security, why desire to end another person's life? And today he had found a perfect subject. More importantly, he was strong enough to conduct the examination. He stepped forward, positioning himself between Darian and the charging man. He raised his hand and flicked a finger against the man's forehead. The attacker was moving too quickly to react. Boom! The martial lord was sent flying like a discarded puppet. An immeasurable anger swelled within Alex's chest. Some people dedicated themselves to protecting humanity. Others found pleasure in destroying it. Alex did not hesitate. He stepped forward again and appeared before the fallen man. The martial lord lay on the ground, stunned, struggling to comprehend what had just occurred. How had this boy appeared here so effortlessly? Tell me, Marcus, why do you want to kill him so much? Alex sat beside him and asked gently. Yet a suffocating killing intent radiated from his body. Marcus looked into the cold eyes beneath the mask. A deep chill crept along his spine. He attempted to activate his talent, but he could not sense it anymore. And how did this youth know his name? His mask was still intact. Alex did not wait for a response. He extended his hand and enveloped Marcus in mental energy, lifting him into the air. A flying blade emerged from his space ring. With clinical precision, Alex opened the man's skull. The entire arena fell into horrified silence. They were accustomed to violence, yes, but this was different. The boy was dissecting a living man calmly, methodically, as if performing routine research. Alex peeled away the scalp. The skull bone became visible. He began separating it carefully using refined mental force. Marcus's teammates finally regained their senses. Bastard! What do you think you're doing? They shouted as they charged forward. But Alex was already consumed by cold fury. He flicked his index finger. For blades streaked outward and reduced the 4 attackers into thousands of fragments. He did not even glance at them. After removing the skull, the brain was exposed. With a slight telekinetic pull, it emerged from the cranial cavity. Marcus was already dead. Alex brought the brain closer. AI, generate a 100% precise human brain model. I want to compare them and understand why individuals like this exist, he commanded coldly. What he did not realize was that, to the spectators, he had become the psychopath. Darian approached cautiously. Alex, are you all right? He asked. The coldness faded from Alex's eyes. Brother, did I do something wrong? I feel no guilt for killing them. To me, they are parasites. They contribute nothing but harm. No, you did what was necessary. If you hadn't, he would have killed us. He might have done unspeakable things to the girls while the crowd watched. This is a world where humans devour humans. But perhaps you went a little too far. That is all, Darian replied. Is that so? I still want to know why they are like this. I will conduct the research later. Let's go, Alex said. Today I learned something about myself. Killing a criminal does not burden me like those self-righteous protagonists in fantasy novels. And I am glad I am not like that. He wrapped the brain in a plastic sheet and stored it in his space ring. Then he appeared before Anna. "Are you afraid of me now?" Alex asked curiously. A faint, almost sadistic smile surfaced on Anna's face. For reasons she could not fully explain, she felt immense satisfaction watching those men die so gruesomely. She suppressed the smile with effort and shook her head. "Why would I be? If I were as strong as you, I would have turned them into meat paste before you could have done anything," she replied softly. Alex smiled faintly upon hearing that. "So this place for the younger generation exists to acclimate them to the brutality of the world?" Alex asked Darian. "That is correct. But you may also challenge them if you wish," Darian replied calmly. "Then it has already fulfilled its purpose. Let us leave. I do not want anyone casting those revolting gazes upon the girls again," Alex said as he began walking toward the exit. The girls remained where they stood, yet their hearts pounded violently within their chests. A man like Alex, the supreme genius of Earth and perhaps the entire universe, who was so merciless toward his enemies that they could sense his killing intent from afar, was now displaying such gentleness. He was concerned for them. Their hearts raced uncontrollably. Anna looked toward her cousins and saw their eyes. She could immediately tell what they were thinking. Why would he have to behave like a gentleman all of a sudden? She complained in her heart, but still she felt happy too. "Very well. Where shall we go now?" Darian asked. "Let us tour the city. We can sample various cuisines and explore its entertainments. By the way, when do you plan to challenge the Inheritance Tower?" "You are nearly 20, correct?" Alex inquired. "Yes, I will challenge it after reaching level 9. I have approximately 4 months remaining before I can attain that level," Darian responded. Alex gave a simple nod. Then they departed from the battle arena. "Brother Alex, that fight was unbelievable. Why did you not enter the arena and confront some criminals?" one of the girls asked curiously. "There is no necessity. At my current level, none with same level can defeat me. It would merely be slaughter. I would gain nothing from such meaningless bloodshed. And those criminals serve their own purposes," Alex replied in a composed tone. The girl nodded in understanding. They continued strolling through the city, having already removed their masks. Suddenly, a rich and irresistible fragrance reached Alex's senses. He turned his head and noticed a modest roadside restaurant. A man was preparing barbecued meat. "Let us eat. I am hungry," Alex suggested. "Certainly. We are hungry as well," they agreed. They took seats at a nearby table. The owner remained focused on grilling, so his face was not visible. "Old sir, serve us your finest dishes," Darian called out. "At once," the old man replied without glancing at them. Shortly after, someone delivered the food. Darian looked at the server and froze. "Why?" He could not complete his sentence. The girls also stiffened when they saw who had served them. However, Alex did not recognize him and began eating enthusiastically. The moment the meat touched his tongue, it felt as though an explosion of flavor detonated within his mouth. His eyes widened. Tears streamed down his cheeks uncontrollably. He neither resisted nor wished to. "Old man, what is this? Why can I not stop eating?" Alex asked while devouring the food. He finished his portion instantly, only to notice that the others had yet to begin. "If you are not hungry, may I have yours?" Alex asked innocently. "No, absolutely not. If you touch my food, I will declare war against you," they shouted simultaneously. Even Anna joined in. Alex was speechless. Why such seriousness? "I can simply order another serving," he thought. "Old man, kindly provide me with another plate," Alex requested. Suddenly, a thunderous burst of laughter echoed across the space. "Haha, this brat believes he can have more. We have been customers here for hundreds of years and have never received a second serving." "What?" Alex glanced around. The restaurant had appeared small from the outside, yet the interior was vast beyond imagination. Hundreds of tables filled the space, each occupied. A chill ran down his spine. Why did I fail to notice them? He thought with alarm. He immediately activated his scan. Name Varan Ashbourne. Talent Beastmaster SS. Rank Level 9 Emperor. Note: possesses a contracted beast. Can merge with the beast to obtain its abilities while retaining his own power. Name Samuel Jackson. Talent Invisibility S. Rank Level 8 Emperor. Note: can become invisible and pass through solid objects for 30 minutes. Cooldown time of 2 hours. Alex's eyes widened. Why were so many Supreme Masters gathered here? He continued scanning. Every individual present was either an emperor or at least a high-level saint. Then Alex looked at the server. Name Harrison Ford. Talent Wood Manipulation SS. Rank Level 1 Emperor. Note: he can infuse life energy into others and heal them to their fundamental level. Now he knew why they didn't start eating. They might have known this person. Alex then looked at the old man. The man had finally turned toward him. His appearance was ordinary, yet an indescribable noble aura radiated from him. The old man appeared before Alex, holding a fresh plate of meat. Go on, child. You require greater nourishment if you wish to grow faster. What? Every emperor in the establishment rose to their feet. Master, this is unfair. Why would you give him a second serving? Why would you break the rule you set yourself? We also want more. They protested vigorously. The old man glanced at them with open disdain. Second servings? Continue dreaming. I will not violate my rules for you punks. This exception is solely for this kid, he declared. No emperor dared to object further. Alex was shaken beyond comprehension. Who exactly was this old man? He scanned him. Name Nolan Magnus. Talent Alchemist SSS. Rank Level 9 Emperor. Note: the foremost martial artist of the light domain and bearer of the first SS rank talent. Capable of combining materials to create pills at least 10 times more potent than the sum of their components. He is the creator of nearly all serums and medicinal pills and the master of the current generation of emperors. The information flooded into Alex's mind. I want this talent. I want it badly, he screamed inwardly. As if responding to his overwhelming desire, a notification sounded. Ding. Host has exhibited intense desire for a non-elemental talent. You may sacrifice 3 external talent slots to copy a non-elemental talent. In the future, you will be able to copy same type of non-elemental talents to enhance this one. Alex nearly leapt from his seat. He would have sacrificed 5 slots without hesitation if it meant acquiring such power. Old man, can I shake your hand? This is the most exquisite food I have ever tasted, Alex said, feigning ignorance of the man's true identity. You wish to shake my hand? Very well. However, you must work under me once a month for 1 year. The old man replied with a faint smile. Would that mean I may eat your food without limitation? Alex asked, practically drooling. Naturally, Nolan nodded. The emperors burned with jealousy yet remained silent. I accept. Why not allow me to work every day? I require no payment, Alex responded instantly. The old man scoffed. I open this restaurant only once each month. Oh! The euphoria within Alex diminished slightly. The old man extended his hand. Welcome to my shop. Alex clasped it firmly. Sacrifice 3 slots and copy the talent. Ding. 3 external talent slots sacrificed. Non-elemental talent alchemist successfully copied. Alex was in an exceptionally good mood. The kind of good mood where the world felt light, the sky seemed bluer, and even the air tasted expensive. Okay, kid, come here next month, Nolan said with a lazy look. All right, old man. Alex nodded and looked at Anna and others. Then he noticed something strange. Anna, Darian, and every single child of the Celestis family had suddenly dropped to one knee. Their expressions were solemn, reverent. It is an honor to meet His Majesty Alchemy Emperor Nolan Magnus, they said in perfect unison. Alex blinked. What? He looked left, then right, then back at Nolan, who was still holding barbecue skewers like a street vendor. He was a perfect actor. He wouldn't let anyone think that he had already learned about him. Brother Darian, Anna. Maybe there's a misunderstanding here. He's just an old man who sells barbecue. How can he be the alchemy emperor? Darian's eye twitched. Alex, please stop talking for a moment, he muttered under his breath. We are in the presence of the first pioneer of humanity, the master of every emperor on earth, including the Alliance president, including our ancestor, and his students are here too. He lowered his voice further. A casual breath from any of them could erase us from existence. The surrounding emperors stood quietly, watching the drama. Alex slowly turned his head toward Nolan with a suspicious look, as if asking silently, "Is this true?" Nolan stroked his beard. There was a smug smile forming, slowly but proudly. "Well?" Nolan asked. "Are you afraid now, kid?" The surrounding emperors leaned in slightly. They all knew about Alex, the ultimate genius of Earth who reached 100th stair and gained a title from the Tower 2.P. They were curious. Would he panic? Tremble? Collapse? But Alex did something they didn't even think in their imagination. Alex jumped off the table. Then he lunged forward and hugged Nolan tightly. "Grandmaster, where were you?" he cried dramatically. "Why didn't you come see me when I came out of the tower?" He tilted his head up with exaggerated puppy eyes. The courtyard fell silent. He even sniffled for effect. "I missed you so much." Everyone felt their faces twitch. Anna's soul nearly left her body. She wanted to dig a hole and bury herself permanently. Darian turned slightly and muttered, "Don't look at me. I don't know this shameless bastard." Even the emperors, who had cultivated their emotions for centuries until their skin was thicker than city walls, felt heat rising to their faces. Nolan's expression stiffened. He had intended to tease the boy, not adopt him, but he had no idea that the boy was this shameless. "Grandmaster," Alex continued, clinging shamelessly, "after this reunion, won't you feed me 3 tons of barbecue?" The surrounding emperors nearly choked. Nolan's old face twitched. 3 tons. "Yes, I've been starving for affection," Alex replied sincerely. "And protein." Nolan narrowed his eyes. "How am I your grandmaster?" Alex released him and stood upright instantly, answering without hesitation. "I am the disciple of Master Elindros Celestis. You are his master. Therefore, you are my grandmaster." Simple. There was no flaw in the logic. Nolan paused. "That is technically correct." He stroked his beard again. "Fine. I will make 3 tons of barbecue for you." Alex's eyes sparkled. "But," Nolan continued, smiling slightly, "you must eat it here, right now. All of it." Alex froze. The emperors leaned forward again to know what he would say next. Instead, Alex stepped behind Nolan and began massaging his shoulders with surprisingly precise pressure. "Grandmaster," he said earnestly, "you are already old. You shouldn't work too hard." His hands worked with expert accuracy. "Just make 10 kilograms per day for me. That will be sufficient." Nolan burst out laughing. "You brat. You are more shameless than me." All the emperors nodded immediately. Alex just grinned foolishly, completely unbothered. But then something shifted. His smile faded. His eyes became serious. "Grandmaster," he said quietly, "please allow me to observe when you refine pills and serums. I want to learn." The atmosphere changed instantly. Nolan noticed it. The emperors noticed it. This was no longer a joke. "Why?" Nolan asked calmly. "Resources are practically free for you." Everyone watched Alex carefully. He didn't hesitate. "Grandmaster, I have an extremely high cultivation talent, but I can feel it. You all are facing something big." The emperor's expressions grew solemn. "I want to become an emperor as early as possible," Alex continued. "But for that, I'll need mountains of resources." His voice was steady. "I don't want to burden anyone. If I learn alchemy, I can hunt outside and create my own pills. I can support myself. Nolan looked at him deeply. This brat really does know when to become serious, he thought. You do not need to worry about such matters yet, Nolan said softly. When the sky falls, the tall trees will hold it up for you youngsters. His voice carried the weight of centuries. Focus on becoming strong, and never walk a dark path. He took out a card made of deep black metal etched with golden runes. Come to the Magnus Tower. You may enter any floor except restricted areas. Learning depends on you, but let me tell you, it is very, very hard. With an alchemy talent, the success rate would be 1% to 5%. Alex bowed respectfully. Thank you, Grandmaster. I'll visit tomorrow. He then turned toward the other emperors. I am sorry, Your Majesties, if my behavior earlier offended you. He bowed again. The emperors laughed. No offense taken, kid, Samuel said. It was entertaining. He studied Alex curiously. But tell me, how did you make your skin this thick at such a young age? Alex paused. For a moment, his mind drifted to another life. To an orphanage. To buttering up an elderly caretaker daily just to avoid being thrown out after growing up. That was true cultivation. Thick skin forged through survival. He blinked and smiled innocently. I'm not sure what you mean, sir. Then he waved casually. Good night. And left. The moment he disappeared from sight, the atmosphere changed again. The emperors looked at each other. Should we tell him about the upcoming calamity? Samuel asked quietly. Nolan shook his head. No, not yet. He still has time. Let him grow freely. Then he left with his assistant. Far away, Alex walked with Anna and Darian toward home. Anna tugged his sleeve shyly. Alex, when you visit the Magnus Tower tomorrow, can I come? I'm a big fan of his. Alex agreed instantly. Sure. Anna's face brightened. Alex turned toward Darian. Brother Darian, can you bring some beast cores for me? Darian nodded immediately. How many? What rank? 10 beast master level cores. Darian handed over 10 cores. I also have grand master level cores if you want. Alex shook his head. Not need. His eyes gleamed slightly. Tonight he was going to try something. As they continued walking, Anna glanced at him. You really weren't scared at all? Alex chuckled. Of what? That was the Alchemy Emperor. Alex looked at the night sky. When someone that powerful stands in front of you, you either fear them, or you cling to them. He grinned. I prefer barbecue. Anna burst into laughter. Darian sighed. Sometimes I genuinely can't tell if you're a genius or an idiot. Alex placed his hands behind his head. Why not both? The moonlight stretched across the quiet streets as they returned home. Alex returned to his room and immediately stepped into the shower. Warm water washed away the dust and fatigue clinging to his body. After drying off and changing into clean clothes, he headed straight toward the training room. Tonight, he wanted to create something. Beast cores were reservoirs of immense energy. Everyone knew that, but that energy was impure. Thick strands of dark miasma were intertwined with the raw power inside, making it impossible for martial artists to absorb them directly. Because of that, beast cores were mostly used as general energy supplies. That was where Nolan Magnus stepped in. He possessed the ability to extract the pure essence from a core, blend it with natural ingredients, and refine it into pills or serums suitable for cultivation. The Magnus Tower was the central hub for such creations. Anyone who awakened an alchemy-related talent could apply for a position there. But Alex wanted to attempt something different. He would soon begin hunting monsters regularly. Refining pills in a carefully controlled laboratory environment every single time would be impractical. He needed something more convenient, less refined than a pill, something rougher, but usable. He wanted to absorb cores directly. There were billions of monsters roaming outside. Billions of cores waiting to be claimed. If he could bypass the alchemical refining process and use the cores in their raw state, his breakthroughs would come much faster. He sat down cross-legged and picked up a core. Handling a core was dangerous. One careless move and the black miasma could seep into his body. He activated his alchemy talent. Instantly, his perception shifted. The core appeared transparent before him. Molecule by molecule, its structure unfolded in his mind. He could clearly see the energy molecules glowing faintly and the dark miasma coiling around them like shadowy threads. He narrowed his eyes. How could he separate them cleanly? He knew Nolan used a furnace to complete the purification process. Controlled heat, stable reaction, precise timing. But Alex neither had a furnace nor wanted to rely on one. Reverse gravity. A new idea surfaced. He wrapped his mental energy around a cluster of energy molecules and applied reverse gravity to them. Immediately, negative pressure formed between the energy cluster and the surrounding miasma. The molecular bonds began to strain under the force. Then they snapped. Alex attempted to pull the purified energy molecules outward. The entire core shattered into fine dust in his palm. He stared at the gray powder silently. Damn, I expected that. Still, this is a start. For a moment, he considered isolating every single energy molecule individually and extracting them one by one. Then he shook his head. That approach was unrealistic. The core's structural stability would collapse every time. He exhaled slowly. Tomorrow, I'll observe how Grandmaster refines a pill. Once I understand the full process, I'll try again. There must be something deeper hidden within this talent. There was no point wasting more cores tonight. He moved into the cultivation room and began circulating energy. The night passed quietly. He cultivated for 8 full hours again. Cultivation level 34. Cultivation base 7.3Q/7.8Q. Energy absorption 170.1B/S. He had successfully broken through from level 33 to level 34. Just one level. But in the previous session, he had broken through from level 16 to level 33. From here onward, however, the time required would only continue increasing. Strength 2.35 megaton. Speed 5200 m/s. Defense 2.35 megaton. Spirit 0.6 megaton. Alex let out a soft sigh. If he truly wanted to participate in the upcoming upheaval, he would need to cultivate for 24 hours nonstop. Not only that, he would have to activate the tenfold absorption function of the wristband. And for that, he would require resources. A massive amount of resources. He freshened up and went to have breakfast. Brat, you caused quite a commotion yesterday, Alindros said while chewing, his tone filled with mock jealousy. You're one lucky dog. You get to eat Master's barbecue every month without restriction. Alex grinned. Master, don't feel sad. When I eat, I'll take an extra portion on your behalf. As my master, when your disciple eats, you should be able to taste it spiritually, right? Alindros smacked the back of his head in annoyance. Enough nonsense. When are you leaving for the Magnus Tower? Arthur has already sent you the technique, and I've prepared the blood materials required for your cultivation. So come back soon. Alex's eyes brightened instantly. Okay. I'll be back before evening. Good. After breakfast, Alex and Anna prepared to leave. They drove toward the Magnus Tower with Alex behind the wheel. He had recently learned how to drive and had become somewhat infatuated with it. Anna, what's your plan for the future? Alex asked casually while driving. Anna was startled by the sudden question. She thought for a moment before answering. Right now, I only want to grow stronger. I want to master my talent properly, so that I can stand beside you when you fight and share whatever burdens you might carry in the future. Her voice was steady, though it required courage to say those words. Alex felt a sweetness bloom in his heart, but he suppressed it. He still did not want to be vulnerable to such emotions. There were too many responsibilities ahead. Then you'd better train hard, he replied with a faint smile. Otherwise, I'll leave you behind. Anna's heart began beating faster. They were alone in the car, traveling together. To her, it felt like a perfect date. She could sense his presence beside her, even the faint, natural scent of him. I will. I won't let you leave me behind, she said firmly. A second later, she realized how desperate that sounded. It felt like she was a wife, being abandoned by her husband who was going far away. Her face turned red. She covered it with her hand and stopped talking. Alex knew Anna had feelings for him, but he decided to let things unfold naturally. There was no need to rush. They arrived at the Magnus Tower 30 minutes later. The structure stood tall, a towering 20-story building. Alex stepped out and walked around to open Anna's door like a gentleman. He extended his hand with exaggerated grace. "Allow me to escort you inside, my princess." He meant it playfully, but for Anna it felt overwhelming. Her body trembled slightly. Her heart pounded so violently it felt as if it might leap out of her chest. "Please don't tease me like that, Alex," she murmured after steadying herself. "My little heart can't handle it." Alex realized he might have gone a bit too far. "Sorry. Let's head inside." Anna nodded, and together they approached the entrance. Using the special card Nolan had given him, they bypassed the regular procedures and entered directly. Inside, several staff members were already waiting. "Good morning, Master Alex. We have been expecting you. The Alchemy Emperor has instructed us to escort you directly to the 15th floor. Shall we proceed?" A man in a black suit asked politely. "Yes, let's go." Soon they arrived at the 15th floor. Numerous researchers wearing aprons moved around busily. It was clearly a high-level laboratory area. Alex followed the man into a restricted chamber. Inside stood a massive furnace. 5 martial artists continuously fueled the flames using their fire manipulation talents. Nolan Magnus floated midair, his gaze fixed on the interior of the furnace. "So, you finally arrived," Nolan said with a faint smile. Alex nodded respectfully. "Grandmaster, what are you refining?" "My task every morning is to purify materials and extract their essence," Nolan replied calmly. "The others use that essence to create serums. As for me, I personally refine pills." He glanced briefly at Alex. "Pills are at least 100 times more valuable than serums. Only those with true alchemist talents are capable of creating them." "Grandmaster, can you tell me the process of creating a pill verbally? I want to know the theory first," said Alex politely. Nolan descended slowly until his feet touched the polished obsidian floor. The furnace behind him roared with controlled fury, its flames a deep violet tinged with gold. Fire born not from wood or coal, but from 5 synchronized talents feeding it essence. "Sit," Nolan said simply, gesturing toward a cushioned stool near the observation platform. Alex obeyed without hesitation. Anna remained a respectful step behind, her eyes wide as she took in the sheer scale of the chamber. Nolan waved a hand. One of the assistants hurried forward with a silver tray. On it rested 3 items: a fist-sized grade 3 beast core from a Shadowfang panther, a bundle of dried moonlit ginseng roots, and a small vial of liquid milky essence. "Today's batch is modest," Nolan began. His voice was calm. "A mid-tier core, common spiritual herb, and auxiliary essence. In the hands of an ordinary alchemist, this would produce perhaps 3 or 4 grade 3 energy condensation pills. Worth maybe 5 million credits on the open market." He lifted the beast core between thumb and forefinger. Black miasma visibly writhed just beneath its translucent surface, like oil trapped in crystal. "The secret is not in the ingredients themselves," Nolan continued. "It is in how deeply you force them to surrender their potential. First step, structural destabilization. Most alchemists apply heat blindly. They burn away impurities and hope the core doesn't collapse. That is crude, inefficient. The fire must speak the same language as the bonds holding the miasma in place," Nolan explained. "Every element, every molecule has its own resonant frequency. Find it, shatter it selectively. Second step, directional extraction. Never let the impurities mix back in once separated. That is why most fail at higher grades. They purify 80% and call it success. I demand 99.9. Third step, fusion and compression. Here is where true amplification occurs, Nolan said quietly. I do not merely combine. I force synergy. He pressed both palms together. A blinding pulse of light erupted from between his fingers. The three essences, core, herb, essence, began to resonate at the exact same frequency. Their individual powers did not add up. They multiplied. When the light faded, 9 perfect pills floated before Nolan. Each was translucent white with a faint golden core swirling inside. Each had similar level energy as the beast core but now fully available for absorption. With one beast core, he got 9 similarly powerful pills. That was alchemy, the game changer for martial artists. Almost 10-fold amplification, Nolan stated simply. Not through rare ingredients, through perfect understanding of resonance, separation, and forced unity. Alex stared, mind racing. Resonance to break bonds. Selective separation of miasma. Forced unity to multiply output. He already possessed fire manipulation, strong enough, perhaps, to replicate the frequency destruction Nolan had just demonstrated. He also had light manipulation, an alchemy talent. No one else in the world combined those three. A hypothesis crystallized in his mind almost instantly. If he used fire manipulation to find and shatter the resonant frequency of the dark miasma's atomic bonds, loosening it without destroying the entire core, then he could use light manipulation to flood the core with pure photonic energy. Dark miasma was, at its root, corrupted energy. Light was its natural opposite. If he flooded the loosened miasma with concentrated light, the two would annihilate each other in a chain reaction of mutual destruction, leaving only the pure beast energy behind. But there was a problem. Removing the miasma would create a structural vacuum. The core would collapse inward just like his earlier attempt. But this time he had a solution, using a second core or several as supplement ingredients, using other cores to fill the void left by the purified miasma. Force them to bond with each other's framework. The bonded structure would become inherently unstable in a beneficial way. It would develop an insatiable hunger for external energy to stabilize itself. In other words, the fused core would absorb ambient cosmic energy. It would give him a chance to use several cores at once, and also the newly formed core would have more energy than the combined cores as it absorbed energy from outside too. If he could perfect the ratio, how much miasma per core, how many cores he would need to form a perfect synchronization, something miraculous might happen. He would be the only person alive capable of this method. Because no one else could both burn the bonds with fire and erase the miasma with light. Alex's heart pounded with excitement. He memorized every motion, every shift in Nolan's flame pattern, every timing Nolan used for creating a pill. When the demonstration ended, Nolan turned to him. "You saw." "I saw," Alex replied softly. "And I think I understand why no one else can create pills." Alex bowed deeply. They left the Magnus Tower in the late afternoon. Anna was quiet the entire drive home, sensing the storm of thoughts behind Alex's calm expression. When they arrived, Elindros was already waiting in the underground chamber. The room had been transformed. A circular pool 10 meters across dominated the center. Its surface shimmered crimson and gold, blood from at least 7 different high-grade monsters. Crimson Wyrm, Ironback Behemoth, Thunder Rock, Void Serpent, among others. Floating herbs released faint luminescence. Serums of condensed vitality drifted like clouds beneath the surface. Elindros stood at the edge, arms crossed. "Strip and enter," he said without preamble. "The body-strengthening scripture I'm giving you is the revised edition. 7 revolutions bone forging. Each revolution tempers one aspect. Skin, muscle, tendon, bone, marrow, organ, blood, meridian." Alex accepted the scroll Elindros handed him. He sat cross-legged on the cool stone floor and started memorizing it. It was brutal, beautifully brutal. Each revolution required guiding external essence through a precise pathway while enduring escalating pain. The final 3 revolutions bordered on self-destruction and rebirth. He memorized every meridian route, every pressure point, every breathing rhythm. When he opened his eyes again, Elindros was watching him with rare approval. Ready. Alex stood, removed his clothes without hesitation, and stepped into the blood pool. The moment his foot touched the liquid, searing heat raced up his leg. He sank to his waist, then sat fully submerged until only his head remained above the surface. He closed his eyes, began circulating. First revolution, skin tempering. He guided the blood essence along the outermost meridian layer. Every cell in his epidermis screamed as monster blood forced its way inside, rewriting cell walls at the molecular level. Pain like being dipped in acid. He gritted his teeth and pushed forward. Second revolution, muscle forging. Deeper now. Fibers tore and regrew thicker, denser. His biceps, once defined, began to take on the appearance of coiled steel cables beneath the skin. Third, tendon strengthening. Invisible strings throughout his body were pulled taut, then reforged with metallic resilience. By the fourth revolution, bone tempering, cracking sounds echoed from within his skeleton. Each bone was being crushed and rebuilt, calcium lattice replaced with something far harder. Sweat mixed with blood dripped from his forehead. Elindros never moved. He simply observed, ready to intervene if Alex's life force dropped too low. This was his limit for now, as he was only a martial lord level being. When the final pulse faded, Alex rose from the pool. Water sluiced off skin that now gleamed like polished bronze. He looked at his defense first to see what happened. Strength 2.5 megaton. Defense 10 megaton. His defense amplified more than 4 times, and he also got a slight boost in his strength too. Alex stepped into the washroom attached to that training room and let the cool water run over him. After finishing, he dressed neatly and walked back out. He stood straight and bowed respectfully to Elindros. "Thank you, Master, for your generosity." Elindros regarded him calmly. "From the next upgrades onward, you will have to collect your own resources. Your team has already been formed. You are permitted to hunt only within a range of 10,000 kilometers from the light domain. No farther than that." "All right, Master. I am waiting for my wristband to complete its upgrades. Once that is done, I will be ready to venture out," Alex replied. "Very well. You may go and rest," Elindros said as he turned to leave. But Alex hesitated, a thought surfacing in his mind. "Master, I have a question." Elindros paused. "What is it?" "In the Alliance lab, they mentioned that they would upgrade my wristband with a new function. They said it would allow my cultivation to progress 10 times faster using resources. Is that truly possible? Our cultivation talent is fixed, isn't it? Then how?" Alex asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. Elindros answered without hesitation. "It is simple. Your talent enables you to absorb energy naturally without external pressure. The tenfold acceleration will function by compressing energy into your body through intense external force. That pressure will come from highly concentrated energy from the resources. However, it will require mountains of them to achieve such a result." Alex nodded thoughtfully. Now his doubt was fully clear. After that, he returned to his room and collapsed onto the bed. The body cultivation process was brutal. It destroyed his cells and rebuilt them again and again. It was a torture. The moment his body touched the mattress, exhaustion claimed him. He fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. 2 days later, Alex opened his eyes slowly. He felt refreshed, as if every fiber of his body had been renewed. He checked the time. 2 days? Not too long, considering what I went through. After bathing, hunger struck him sharply. It was already afternoon, so he headed to the dining hall. As soon as the maids saw him, they bowed deeply. "Master Alex, you have awakened. Would you like something?" "Yes, I am hungry. Please bring me some food," he said directly. "Of course. Please wait a moment." She hurried away. Alex sat at the dining table, contemplating his next move. He suddenly remembered that the vice president had promised to send him the annihilation sword technique. He intended to practice it soon. Moments later, the food arrived, but it was Anna who carried it. She had heard that Alex had awakened and rushed over. "Good afternoon, Anna. How are you? Did anything interesting happen these past 2 days?" Alex asked with a smile as he began eating. Anna took a seat across from him. "Nothing particularly special. But you made a battle promise and never showed up at school. Ray contacted me to ask if you still intend to fight him." "That battle maniac still wants to fight me even after the test results?" Alex said with a wry grin. Anna laughed. "I suppose so. What should I tell him?" "Tell him to come tomorrow. I will deal with that overconfident brat personally," Alex replied with a smile. Anna burst into laughter again. "All right." After finishing his meal, Alex went to find Alindros. "Master, has the vice president sent the sword technique?" he called from outside the room. Alindros stepped out holding a scroll. "Yes, but this technique is truly dangerous. It is a double-edged sword. A slight mistake can harm the wielder as well," he said seriously. "Is that so? Let me see it first," Alex replied, interest shining in his eyes. Alindros handed him the scroll. "Remember, no one on Earth has mastered it beyond the 3rd level," Alindros added before Alex left. Alex simply nodded. "I will remember, Master." He went straight to the training room and began reading. The technique contained 5 levels. Below Emperor level, only the 1st level could be learned, and even that required extraordinary comprehension. 1st level, 3 times attack multiplication and 30% defense reduction of the opponent. Simple yet terrifying. The 1st level alone was formidable. Unable to restrain his curiosity, Alex skimmed through the remaining levels. 2nd level, 7 times attack multiplication and 50% defense reduction. 3rd level, 10 times attack multiplication and 75% defense reduction. 4th level, grants annihilation power capable of destroying anyone below planetary level. If the user is insufficiently strong, 70% of the backlash burns the user. 5th level, capable of annihilating a planet with the strength of an emperor. However, if the user is an emperor, they will perish as well. Alex swallowed. The final level was essentially a self-destruction technique. A desperate emperor could use it to drag an enemy to death alongside himself. Those are for later. Let's begin with the 1st level. He memorized the energy pathways and movements effortlessly. Then he began practicing. To him, it felt simple. With his eternal sword talent, even an SSS rank technique at its 1st level was not particularly difficult. Within 2 hours, he mastered it flawlessly. Let's test the damage. A machine for measuring attack power stood in the room. He executed a normal slash first. 2.5 megaton. The number appeared clearly. Then he activated the 1st level of annihilation. 7.5 megaton. Perfect multiplication. No energy loss whatsoever. He had done something monstrous today. Alindros had not mentioned that only saint-level beings possessed the mental capacity to comprehend even the 1st level. Yet Alex mastered it through sheer talent. Not bad. Now let's add sword intent. A sharp aura burst forth from his body. 22.5 megaton. The attack had already reached the realm of martial kings. A level 2 martial king typically wielded around 20 megatons of force. Alex smiled in satisfaction. Now it was time for alchemy. He took out 10 grade 3 beast cores. Activating the Eye of Revelation, he analyzed the energy of a core. 10 billion units. A high-level beast grandmaster core. He examined their internal structure with his alchemy talent and calculated the synchronization ratio. 10 cores were required. Without hesitation, he began. The 10 cores floated in the air as he activated flame manipulation talent. The flames carefully loosened the internal bonds. Alex monitored every fluctuation, waiting for the precise moment. For minutes later, he sensed readiness. He activated his light manipulation talent. Brilliant light energy surged into the cores. Dark miasma was purified under the radiance. Sweat formed on his forehead as he maintained delicate control. The cores became impurity-free but became extremely unstable. This was the critical stage. Trusting his alchemy talent, he followed the instinctive guidance flowing through his mind. He began merging them. 10 minutes of flawless precision later, synchronization occurred. External cosmic energy poured inward. 6 minutes after that, a perfect white core materialized before him, resembling a condensed cosmic crystal. He checked its energy level. 1 trillion units. Alex leapt to his feet. It had succeeded. Ha ha! His laughter echoed through the chamber. Not only could he use such cores for his own cultivation, but he could also generate immense wealth from them. The white core floated in front of Alex like a silent star. The surface was smooth and bright. There was no trace of dark miasma inside it. No corruption. No instability. Only pure, condensed energy. 1 trillion units. Alex stared at it for a long time. His breathing was slow. Beast's heart was racing. He had solved it. The 10 times cultivation problem was no longer a burden hanging over his head. The wristband upgrade would compress energy into him through extreme pressure. It required massive resources. Mountains of them. Fine. He would build mountains. He would go out. He would fight monsters. He would tear through the wildlands. He would collect their beast cores. And then he would refine them into something awesome like this. Not even Nolan himself could do this. Nolan used natural herbs to push out the dark miasma. That method was careful and refined, but it had limits. It relied on external materials and complex processes. Alex did not need that. He had light. He could burn away darkness directly. He could create a pure core. That difference was terrifying. If anyone understood what he had just achieved, the entire world would tremble. He slowly reached out and grabbed the white core. Felt warm in his palm, like holding a small sun. A smile spread across his face. This is my path. Suddenly his communicator rang. The sound pulled him out of his thoughts. He glanced at the screen. Tenzin. He answered. Master Alex, your Omni-Weave is ready. Should I send it to the Celestis house? Tenzin asked politely. The tone was different now. Respectful. Careful. Before, Tenzin had spoken casually. Now there was distance in his voice. The vice president must have said something. Though Tenzin did not know Alex's true talent, he knew one thing. Alex was to be treated with respect higher than saints. Would you take it here personally? I want to know its functions in person now, Alex said. Of course. See you tomorrow, or should I come now? Tenzin asked. No need. Come tomorrow, Alex said calmly. All right. The call ended. He did not want to cultivate today. He wanted to sleep. He closed his eyes. I will conquer the world tomorrow. And he fell asleep. The next day, at 6 a.m., Alex Moriarty, come out and fight me. How dare you not fulfill your promise and hide here? The shout exploded outside the Celestis house. Alex's eyes snapped open. For a second, he thought he was under attack. Then he recognized the voice. Right. Not only him, everyone else woke up too. Doors opened one after another. Members of the Celestis family stepped out, confused and irritated. Who dared to shout at their gates at dawn? Darian came out before Alex. He stretched lazily and looked toward the entrance. Ray Rosario? Do you want to fight Alex? He asked curiously. Yes, I do. May I know who you are? Ray asked. No one particularly important, but he defeated 67 high-grade Berserk Beast Grandmaster. I would like to know, where are you getting the courage to fight him? Darian asked again. Ray's face turned red. He remembered the difference between them, but he had still come. I want him to use only sword technique, as I know he is a sword user without using his cultivation and spirit master ability, he said. And why would he do that? Would you tell the monsters outside? Please pummel me gently. I do not want you to use your claws or strength, Darian asked with disdain. Ha ha! The Maidis of the Celestis family laughed out loudly. Only then did Ray realize there were so many beautiful girls watching him. He wanted to burrow into the ground. Ah, that is none of your business. Where is Alex? Ray shouted. Alex walked out calmly. You really want me to fight without using my strength? Then what is the reason of this fight? Alex asked. I want to know how you will do if you meet someone with similar abilities like you, where only fighting with weapon would be an option, Ray said righteously. Alex felt his mouth twitch a bit. This guy was also shameless like him. Sure. I have learned a sword technique yesterday. I will use it on you first. I will suppress my strength to your level, Alex said. Ray was now a martial warrior level 9. These SSS grade talents were cultivating too fast. Okay. Ray nodded and took his stance with his spear. This the SS grade spear technique I learned after awakening my talent. Though I have only learned the first level, Ray said calmly. Alex took out a sword and took his position. Strength, 15 tons. Speed, 80 m/s. Defense, 15 tons. His strength was higher than normal level 9 martial warrior. So Alex decided to use 10-ton strength on him. Come. His face turned serious as if he was fighting the greatest foe of his life. It was Alex's motto. Never underestimate your enemy and destroy him before he could do any surprise. Darian looked at his face and muttered. Who becomes so serious when fighting a child? Oh, I forgot he is a child too. Come to think of it, he should be like this, but this monster had shattered my worldview that day. And now he can destroy high-level martial lords too. Destruction. Ray roared. Annihilation. Alex muttered. They attacked. Clang. The first clash sent shockwaves through the courtyard. The first level of destruction gave Ray 2x amplification. The first level of annihilation gave Alex 3x. But Alex had suppressed himself. So the power was similar. Ray felt hope rise in his chest. He could match him. They clashed again and again. Then Alex activated sword intent. Boom! A sharp aura burst from him like a rising tide. The air felt heavy. Sword intent? I have spear intent too, Ray shouted. A penetrating aura exploded from his body. They collided again. Intent against intent. Steel against steel. Sparks flew. For a few moments they were equal. Then Alex quietly increased his output by 1 ton. Just 1. The final clash sent Ray flying backward. He landed hard, slid across the ground, and stopped. Silence. Ray stood up slowly, but he was smiling. If someday I can surpass you for real, we will fight for real, Ray said. He turned to leave. Alex stepped closer and whispered into his ear. Join the breakfast. The Celestis family is filthy rich. The breakfast is very delicious. If you cannot finish your part, give them to me. My master is a miser. He only allows me to eat a particular portion. Ray's eyes lit up. Really? Really? They shook hands. Unfortunately, everyone heard the whisper clearly. Darian felt a chill and tried to leave. But it was too late. Alindros appeared with a mighty aura and pulled Alex's ear. Brat, what did you just say? He asked with mock anger. I said my master's heart is vaster than an ocean, Alex replied shamelessly. Alindros snorted coldly and left. Alex heaved a sigh of relief. Just as they were about to go inside, a deafening sound appeared out of nowhere. A voice echoed from the sky. It was ancient, vast, cold. The dark miasma will vanish from Earth from today onward. The light domain would be visible to every other races. Boom! Felt like thunder exploding inside their ears. The entire light domain was shaking. The sky trembled. The ground vibrated. What is going on? Alex asked. Alindros' face turned pale. Why now? Why? We should have got 16 more years, he muttered fanatically. Alex stepped closer. Master, what happened? Please tell me. Alindros slowly regained his composure. It is a secret we wanted to hide from you until you become stronger. But looks like it is time, he said calmly. Everyone listened. The dark miasma was not a curse. It was the first line of defense for us humans. The planet is now vast beyond imagination. Thousands of times larger than what we once knew. That was only a hypothesis. We actually do not know how vast it is. We cannot go into outer space anymore. A seal is locking us here. His eyes were heavy. 34 years ago, we received a message. Within 50 years, the light domain would dissipate and humans would be exposed to monsters. If we want to keep the barrier up until then, we would have to use monster cores. He paused. But that was not the most horrific information. His voice lowered. There are other intelligent races on this planet now, very superior to us. The moment the dark miasma disappears, they will sense our location. The courtyard was silent. For the past 34 years, we have been maintaining this light domain by hunting Emperor-class monsters and using their cores as the energy source. We thought we would first have to survive the monster tide before facing other races. But it seems our planning was too shallow. Everyone was trembling. The mere news of the light domain's dissipation was enough to drive them into despair. But now there were other intelligent and superior races involved too. Alex inhaled deeply and steadied himself. He took out the communicator and called his mother. "Mom, come to the Celestis house," he said calmly. "Okay." Elizabeth didn't ask anything further. "Master, this whole situation should be some kind of trial from a higher cosmic system, don't you think?" Alex asked. Alindros was genuinely surprised that Alex could reach such a conclusion so quickly. "Judging by everything, it does seem so. We are most likely guinea pigs who have been spoon-fed for 500 years, and now the experiment is about to begin," Alindros replied. "So, we have 16 years before the light domain dissipates. To maintain the barrier during those 16 years, we will need monster cores. But now that the dark miasma is vanishing, other races will be able to detect our location, and we won't be able to go out hunting freely." "Correct." Alex analyzed calmly. Alindros' eyes widened. "How are you this calm in a situation like this? And how is your mind functioning so accurately?" "Master, is there anyone with teleportation talents?" Alex asked, ignoring the question. "Yes, there are. I believe more than one." "Why?" Alindros responded. "I want you to introduce someone like that to me, and tell the vice president to call everyone back inside the light domain immediately. Other races might appear very soon. We need to observe them from within the domain, not outside it." Alex was issuing orders to one of the most powerful emperors of the light domain. Alindros simply nodded and contacted Arthur, explaining everything. Arthur had been panicking inside the Alliance Hall. After hearing Alindros' words, he gradually calmed down. "That brat is truly reliable when it matters," Arthur muttered with a faint smile. "Bring him to the meeting of the emperors. I will ask everyone, including the president, to return inside the light domain," Arthur said firmly. Anna stepped out of the house and stood beside Alex. She remained silent, listening carefully. "Alex, let's head to the Alliance. A meeting will begin soon," Alindros said. "But let's eat first. Only a full stomach can give birth to brilliant ideas." The tense atmosphere instantly lightened, and laughter broke out. "Let's eat. You can have as much as you want. I won't be stingy today," Alindros said with a grin. Alex scratched his neck awkwardly, slightly embarrassed. The entire light domain had fallen into panic, though most people did not know the full details. It should have been a joyous occasion that the dark miasma was dissipating, but the announcement about intelligent races instead of monsters left a thorn lodged in everyone's throat. Arthur contacted the president and explained everything. Since he had been outside, he had not heard the announcement himself. Julius immediately decided to return from the Amazon forest, which was 70,000 kilometers away from the light domain. His team, the strongest in the domain, consisted of 6 members. Among them was one who possessed a space portal talent. He could connect 2 distant locations through his portals. Julius glanced at the fleeing, injured T-Rex in the Emperor realm. But he no longer had the time to pursue it. Everyone stepped into the portal. Those already inside contacted anyone still outside and ordered them to return immediately to the light domain. The ones outside had already sensed that the dark miasma was thinning. They initially assumed something was wrong in their immediate surroundings, but once they received the calls, they did not hesitate any longer. After breakfast, Alex and Alindros boarded their spaceship. My mom is coming here. Please look after her, Alex said gently to Anna. Please don't worry, Anna reassured him softly. The spaceship lifted into the sky and vanished. Master, how long can a single Emperor core sustain the barrier? Alex asked. About 7 days, Elindros replied flatly. So little? What about the reserves? How many do we currently have? Alex pressed further. We can maintain it for about 6 months. After Julius returns, we'll see how many cores he has gathered this time, Elindros answered. Alex began calculating. Once he obtained the wristband, he would be cultivating 24 hours a day. If he could maintain the 10-fold cultivation speed for 6 months, it would be equivalent to 5 full years of progress. With the progressive algorithm of his system, he estimated he would reach approximately level 68, officially entering the Emperor realm. And his combat strength would vastly surpass that of ordinary martial emperors. Alex exhaled slowly in relief. If he became as powerful as an emperor, with his talents, he would be capable of crushing any monsters or foreign races that might soon appear at their doorstep. They arrived at the Alliance headquarters within 20 minutes. Countless powerful auras filled the air from every direction. Mr. Elindros, what is your opinion on this situation? Several emperors asked. Elindros answered vaguely. Even he did not fully understand what was unfolding. Alex walked beside him silently. Soon they entered the grand meeting hall, where a massive elongated table stood, surrounded by hundreds of chairs. Arthur was already present. He glanced at Elindros and Alex. Please sit here. Arthur gestured for Elindros to take a seat near the president's main position. As for Alex, he was given the seat to Arthur's right. Where is Julius? Elindros asked after sitting down. The president has arrived. He is freshening up, Arthur replied. Alex's mind, however, was buzzing with excitement. He would finally witness the gathering of the most powerful talents in the entire domain. One by one, the emperors took their seats. They were surprised to see Alex seated beside Arthur but chose to remain silent. What is a brat like him doing in a meeting of emperors? I know he is talented and has enormous potential, but we are speaking only of potential. He might have become an emperor if he had enough time, but we no longer have that luxury. He is not worthy to sit here among us, someone remarked coldly. Name, Marcus Nightvale. Talent, Assassin, SS. Rank, Level 8 Emperor. Note, can merge with shadows and increase speed 9-fold. Several emperors nodded in agreement. Elindros snorted coldly, and an overwhelming, cataclysmic pressure descended upon Marcus. Who the hell are you to decide who is worthy of sitting here? The crushing force nearly buckled Marcus to his knees, but another immense pressure surged forward and collided with Elindros, neutralizing it. Elindros, do you truly wish to display tyranny at a time like this? Remember, the Nightvales do not fear war. Alex shifted his gaze to the man standing beside Marcus. Name, Luis Nightvale. Talent, Dark Element Manipulation, SS. Rank, Level 9 Emperor. Note, ancestor of the Nightvale clan. Then instruct your son to keep his filthy mouth shut. Elindros replied without the slightest tremor. Arthur looked at the Nightvale duo coldly. This is the Alliance, not your clan. Alex is the Grade 0 elite of the Alliance. I am the one who decides who may sit here and who may not. Suddenly, a horrifying aura swept into the hall. The old bastard has returned, Elindros said with a faint smile. Alex's gaze shifted toward the door just as it creaked open. A tall, striking middle-aged man stepped inside, his presence calm yet overwhelmingly dominant. Behind him followed 5 more figures, each radiating an aura so vast it felt like invisible mountains pressing down on the room. Name, Julius Caesar. Talent, Clairvoyance, SSS. Rank, Level 9 Emperor. Note, he can see 3 seconds into the future when he activates his talent. He can maintain it for 10 minutes and then requires 1 hour of cooldown. Holy! Alex nearly jumped out of his seat. 3 seconds might sound trivial to a mortal, but for an emperor, 3 seconds was enough to decide 3 battles. Enough to slaughter. Enough to survive. Still, he suppressed the urge to copy the talent. Not now. It would not be useful to him at his current stage. "We have no time for childish quarrels," Julius said as he walked forward and took the central seat. His tone was cold and firm. "We asked you here to discuss our next move. Speak your thoughts." Luis stood first. "We should wait outside and set an ambush. If any vanguard unit from a superior race discovers our location, we eliminate them instantly. They won't get the chance to report back." Several emperors nodded in agreement. Alindros slowly turned his head toward Alex. "What do you think?" Every gaze in the room shifted toward him at once. The pressure was suffocating. The strongest beings in the entire domain were staring at a young man as if weighing his worth in silence. Alex did not flinch. "Master," he said calmly, "if an emperor dies outside, is there a way to trace where he died?" The atmosphere froze. Color drained from several faces as they instinctively reversed the scenario in their minds. "I think we should observe first," Alex continued. "It's unrealistic to assume we won't be discovered. If this truly is some kind of trial, our location may be revealed manually by whatever higher system governs this." He folded his hands behind his back. "We still have 16 years of protection. We gather information. We assess their power scale. We should avoid killing envoys recklessly. Plans can be formed once we understand what we are facing." Silence followed. "Excellent." Julius smiled faintly. "Alex Moriarty, correct? You are worthy of your talent." "You overpraise me, President." Alex looked slightly embarrassed. Marcus snorted loudly. "Little genius," he said with open disdain. "Maybe your immature brain cannot process the entire picture. Let me enlighten you. If we want to maintain the barrier, we must hunt Emperor-level monsters. If other races are hostile, how do you propose we leave to hunt? We would be completely exposed." Alex's eyes flickered. "Master, we have teleporters. And there is Mr. Adam, the portal specialist. Hunting will not be impossible. The risk will increase, yes, but not beyond reason." Then he looked directly at Alindros. "And if you give me time, I will become strong enough to handle every situation myself." Arthur leaned forward. "When you say time, how long?" 5 years. Alex did not hesitate. Marcus laughed mockingly. 5 years? You think you can surpass us in just 5 years who accumulated their strength over centuries? Something in Alex finally snapped. "Why don't you shut that gutter mouth of yours?" he shot back. "How the hell did you even become an emperor? If you were my son, I would have beaten you daily until you learned basic decency. You Night Vale scum." The entire hall went silent. Marcus exploded to his feet. "What did you say, worm? You dare curse me? You know the rule. If someone below emperor insults an emperor, the punishment is death." He turned toward Julius. "President, allow me to execute this future lawbreaker." Alex stared at him like he was looking at a clown. "You truly have the brain of a chicken, don't you?" he said coldly. "My worth to humanity is infinitely greater than yours. You are nothing but trash who reached Emperor Realm by devouring family treasures and luck." Alindros burst into laughter. He knew how vile Alex's mouth could be. Now that his enemies were being burned down, he couldn't help but feel an unmeasurable pleasure inside. Arthur and Julius struggled visibly to suppress theirs. As hosts, they should maintain decorum. But this was absurd. Marcus trembled in fury, but Luis grabbed his arm. "We are leaving," Luis announced. "Inform us of the meeting's outcome." He paused and looked at Alex. "I hope you remain safe, Mr. Future Alliance President." With that, he left. Several emperors followed him. Alex merely smirked. "Aren't you afraid?" Julius asked curiously. "Afraid of what?" Alex replied casually. "I'll just cling to your thick thigh until I grow my own. Once mine is thicker, you can cling to me instead." Several emperors nearly choked. Julius finally lost control and laughed loudly. "Ha ha! You are welcome to cling to my thigh. In fact, I have a granddaughter. Why not marry her and stay with me until your thigh grows strong enough? Alindros immediately stood. He is my student, and my thigh is no less thick than yours, you old bastard. Besides, Anna will become his wife. How dare you try to steal my future son-in-law? The remaining emperors felt second-hand embarrassment. They had gathered to discuss existential threats, yet the two strongest beings were arguing like competitive fathers at a wedding banquet. A sudden huff came from outside. Nolan entered. You two brats. Enough. Don't you have manners? His voice alone suppressed the entire hall. Everyone stood and bowed. Thank you, master, for joining, Julius said respectfully, standing and offering his seat. Nolan waved it off and instead sat beside Alex. Then he leaned close and whispered, though his voice carried clearly across the room. You should marry my great-granddaughter. Most beautiful girl in the clan. Perfect figure for giving birth to 10 children. The hall froze again. Grandmaster. Alex forced a wry smile. Perhaps we should focus on survival first. Several emperors silently thought the same thing. Turns out he is the most mature one here. Nolan's expression finally grew serious. We gather information first. Necessary measures can be taken afterward. Let's wait and see what happens. Beside the monsters from different locations will also gather here if I am not mistaken. The mood shifted back to tension. Then Alindros suddenly said, Alex, didn't you want to meet someone with teleportation talent? There he is. Alex turned. Name Yihan. Talent. Teleportation. S. Rank. Level 4 Emperor. Note. He can teleport to any location he has personally seen. Maximum cumulative distance per session is 1 light-year. After reaching that mark, he would have to take rest for 3 hours. Alex stood. Sir, he asked respectfully, can you explain the mechanism of your talent? Were you able to teleport even at low levels? Yihan nodded. Yes, from the beginning. When you teleport, do you feel spatial turbulence affecting your body? Yihan shook his head slightly. When I teleport, a golden light wraps around me. I do not know its origin, but it protects me. I have never felt discomfort. Alex's eyes narrowed slightly. Alex thought for a while, still didn't clear his doubts. It seemed he would have to conduct a few experiments on his own. Just as they were about to discuss further, Arthur's phone started ringing. Arthur answered immediately since it was his emergency communicator. No one ever used it unless something truly serious had happened. Yes, Arthur asked. Vice President, the miasma has disappeared, but several humanoid creatures are hovering near the barrier. They have wings, horns, and their skin looks like a crocodile's hide. I am feeling fear just by looking at them. A saint from the border army barracks said in a trembling voice. All right, we will be there, Arthur replied with a nod. Everyone in the room heard the conversation clearly. Julius glanced at Adam, and Adam gave a firm nod in return. A portal materialized inside the room. Let's go. We'll see it with our own eyes. Soon, one by one, everyone stepped through the portal, including Alex. When he emerged on the other side, he found himself standing near the barrier. The outside, which had always looked like endless night, was now bright as day. It appeared completely different from the darkness they had grown used to seeing. As far as his eyes could reach, there were only ruins of pre-apocalyptic Earth. The trees were pitch black, and when he looked upward, something in his instincts stirred. For some reason, he immediately knew those creatures were superior to humans, but not to him. So he scanned them. Name, Ao Long. Race, Dragon. Talent, Triple Elemental Dragon Bloodline, X. Rank, Planetary Level 7. Note, he is stronger than every human emperor combined. A dragon in humanoid form, his bloodline is above SSS rank. No wonder they are superior to us, and he is above Emperor realm. Alex thought. Ao Long was not alone. 6 subordinates floated silently behind him. Ao Long moved closer to the barrier and looked at them as if they were insects beneath his notice. Humans, bow down to your gods, Ao Long declared in a cold and absolute tone. Everyone could sense the immense aura radiating from him, yet the barrier kept that pressure outside. Only his voice passed through. You should become our subjects, and you will witness eternal prosperity under the mighty dragon race. Let me introduce myself. I am Ao Long, the general of the dragon race stationed on this planet, he said again. Several emperors froze in place. A crushing existential crisis clawed at their hearts. Only a few level 9 emperors remained steady, along with Alex. He felt nothing. His bloodline talents far surpassed the dragons. You want us to become your slaves? Keep dreaming, Julius replied coldly. You believe the light domain barrier can protect you forever? You will not be able to hunt monsters. How long can you maintain the barrier? And if I strike it, do you think the cores will burn faster? Ao Long asked with a sinister smile. Everyone present felt their throats turn dry. Overwhelming fear seized them. Boom! Ao Long punched the barrier. Nothing visible happened, but Arthur received a notification that a massive amount of energy had just been drained from the core. He swallowed hard. The 6-month estimate was gone. At this rate, they would not last a week. He knew humanity could not defeat a monster like that. Do you wish to die or surrender? Ao Long asked once more. This time Julius remained silent. Hopelessness appeared on his face. Then someone moved. Alex slowly rose into the air. As a martial lord, flying had become effortless for him. With his hands clasped behind his back, he floated upward until he stood at the same height as Ao Long. Only the barrier separated them now. You damn lizard. The announcement mentioned races, which means there are others too. So go find someone else to intimidate. We will never surrender to a bunch of reptiles. We are superior to you. If this barrier did not restrain me, I would have roasted you and eaten you alive, Alex said mockingly. Everyone present felt their hearts nearly stop. This lunatic might get them killed ahead of time. However, Ao Long did not lose his temper. He simply smiled coldly. Someone intelligent, I see, but not intelligent enough to understand his own situation. Even if there are other races, we are superior to them all. That is why we arrived first to offer you this chance. Do you believe your race can survive after insulting me? Even if you kneel before another race? Ao Long taunted. Alex smiled back. When I, Alex Moriarty, begin my hunt, I promise my first dinner will be made from your flesh. Do whatever you want. This barrier will not fall for 16 years. And after 16 years, I will slaughter all of you like the lizards you are, he said without the slightest hint of fear. Very well. Then we shall surround your entire domain. Let us see how you hunt monsters and sustain that barrier. He did not strike the barrier again. Alex descended and faced everyone. Let's go. Do not let some reptile frighten you, he said calmly. Alex, why provoke him? Alindros asked. Master, if this is truly a trial, they will not allow us to perish so easily. Perhaps all of them want to enslave us. If you recall, when I stepped on the 96th stair, the tower announced that I was the first human in the universe to do so. That means there are other human civilizations out there, and they are superior to us. The dragons may be strong, but not invincible. They are likely following certain rules. And even if they are not, I will not let them disrespect us. We will die if we can't defeat them anyway. Why die like cowards? Alex's eyes turned icy. Julius smiled faintly. You are braver than us old men. We will not fear them anymore. If we find a way to survive this catastrophe, that is good. If not, we will die with pride. President, do not worry. No one will die. Do you have Beast Lord level cores? Give me as many as possible if they are not essential. I have plans for them, Alex said. Yes, we do. From today onward, all Beast Lord cores will be allocated to you, Julius replied. Thank you. Let's leave. There is no need to keep the barracks stationed here anymore. They would not be of any help. However, there is a possibility they could be bewitched and walk out on their own, Alex added. You even considered that possibility? The more I see you, the more impressive you become. Honestly, I could draft a special law allowing you to have more than one wife. Just marry my granddaughter. Julius joked with a smile. No need for that. Just monitor the border through cameras for now. And send me the resources quickly. They all re-entered the barrier, including everyone stationed at the barracks. Alex then took the Omni Weave from Tenzin and returned home. Tenzin had thoroughly instructed him on how to operate all of its functions. From this point onward, he would be extremely busy. That night, Alex, Elizabeth, Anna's father and mother who had returned from the wilderness earlier that day, Elindros, and the others sat together at the dinner table discussing everything. After the meal ended, Alex stood up. I will be very busy from now on. Unless something urgent happens, do not disturb me.